Just want to say before the show starts, The Troy Show is a listener discretion advised show. We're fair, we're balanced here, everyone gets a voice. We can't quite control exactly what that voice is going to be, so please keep that in mind as you listen to the show. Any business or organization mentioned on the show is not a sponsor of The Troy Show, nor is it affiliated unless otherwise stated. The Troy Show is not an official representation of the city of Troy, Ohio, USA, or the government thereof. This is Troy on Air. Well, you might be thinking to yourself, why is he standing tonight starting the show? Well, we got a nice, relaxed Memorial Day show coming up for you tonight. No guests or anything in the studio other than some friends of the show in here tonight. But we are standing, starting the show tonight, drinking in solidarity with the ability to stand at bars. So this one goes out to all the bars in the area. We stand in solidarity with you. That takes me back to some childhood memories there. We got A&W tonight. We haven't reached the status level where we can actually drink in the studio tonight, but we'll go ahead and get things set back up so I can sit down. I'm not going to stand that long. I'm not actually at a bar, but we have a great show coming up for you tonight, and we got a couple friends in the studio here as we reposition things. If you want to get in contact with us tonight, of course, the phone lines are open. 937-696-7572 is where you can call in and voice your opinion on anything that we talk about tonight. Maybe you want to reach us by text form. We'll take your emails at beautifultroyshow@gmail.com. Yeah, I think I got that right. And we got some little clips coming up throughout the show today as we roll along, actually starting on time for once. We, of course, are your weekly recap of Troy, Ohio, and the surrounding area local news. We give local news the same attention that national news receives, because just because it's, local doesn't mean that we have to ignore the issues. We don't shy away from anything here. And we try to bring a professional vibe to the show and do our best for our local community. You can, and contrary to popular belief, you totally can highlight stuff in your community that maybe some people don't quite want to touch, and also care about your community at the same time. We're happy you're with us here tonight. And tonight we're joined by our video switcher and friend of the show, Zach from Sydney. Zach, how are you tonight?
Oh, I'm pretty good. It's Memorial Day. Hey, can't complain, right?
Now, did you do any grilling?
I did not do any grilling today. We grilled out a few times over the course of the weekend. Just kind of hanging out and social distancing. I did go to B-Dubs for dinner Friday night. It was special. Let's just go with that.
How was it getting to actually dine in?
I forgot what it was like. They did change some things. We had lots of paper waste, lots of plastic waste. Those places don't recycle, so you had one-time use menus. There was no silverware, which made no sense to me at all.
No silverware.
No silverware. It was plastic silverware.
So they didn't have to wash it.
Pretty little, packaged things that I'm sure came from China.
Does a washing machine work or not?
Well, I would think so. I mean, a washing machine, is like, 700 degrees or something. But apparently that's not hot enough.
Not hot enough. 700 degrees. It won't melt coronavirus, I guess. Have they done any testing on the virus? See if it's any temperature point that maybe it...
From what I understand, it starts to die at I think it was 85 degrees, I think is what I read somewhere.
So, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we'll find out. The weather's warming up. We've had 2 back-to-back days here in the Troy area. Miami Valley area. It was like 90. I think I saw 91 when I was driving around earlier for some content that we were gathering. It was about 91 degrees. Absolutely terrible. Nathan, you and I, we went out. Where did we go this week? What places did we hit up that were open? We got to finally got to eat at, you weren't there for this, but I took Eddie over there to Dunaway's, popular spot. Great people over there that run that place. And it's one of the most underrated places for food in the city.
I eat there almost every week.
Well, I try to go Thursday, Friday, get potato bacon skins from Dunaway's. I think they make,
sounds delicious.
in my humble opinion, they make some of the best ones in town. Everything there's baked. It's really a fun experience, and it's like a classic Midwest bar that they have set up there. And so it's got a nice mix of different crowds and people. It's never too busy. You can get in there and kind of be alone with your thoughts for a little bit or enjoy friends and whatnot there. And so it was nice to just actually go sit down at a restaurant and eat out this week.
Oh, it was great. Their pizza is also wonderful. Probably some of the best local pizza around. If I
That
had to,
Philly cheesesteak, I think.
yeah, Philly cheesesteak pizza. Their meat pizza is pretty good.
So, speaking of going around, we were walking around downtown. We were trying to see who's open yet. A lot of the actual bars in the downtown that offer food, I think they're planning most of them coming back tomorrow here in downtown Troy. And I was walking around with Eddie, and we went over to the Sub House first. I think they were still closed or they had just closed. Leaf and Vine and I think Dunaway's are like the only two bars down here right now that have hours that are available. They're all doing a pretty good job with the social distancing.
While I was walking here, I saw people in the back of the brew barn.
Oh yeah, the brew barn.
There was
the brew
plenty,
barn's open,
of people there. Yeah, we did a remote there, but
they still have that tent seating and everything set up.
Yep.
But we were walking and we went over to the Sub House first, and we thought, well, let's go see if Mojo's is open because I hadn't had the chance. There's a lot of great people who have been putting a lot of good information out about who's open and the hours and whatnot. I didn't have the chance to see that, so I figured we'll just walk around the downtown, see what's going on. And we got over to Mojo's. Really weird incident happened. Eddie had told me people were kind of in the mood to be yelling stuff out their windows for the night. And we got over there, and we just passed Mojo's once we had realized that they were closed. And this car on State Route 41 headed east. He had been past the circle at this point. Slows down to a dead stop in the left-hand lane. Or I think it's only one lane through there. And he slows down to a dead stop in the middle of the road. And he just looks out and he goes, "Hey, man, we're working on a baking project. Do you have any yeast?"
What?
I said, I did that thing like when someone asked you for a lighter, like I checked my pockets. And I was like,
no, I don't have any on me.
and I said, "No, sorry, I don't have any yeast on me at the moment." And he said, "All right, thanks, man." And like they just accelerated away.
Wow, is that some kind of inside joke?
Well, I've been there where you say, they probably had like a tease or something or a dare because they went around the block and then they left. So they were just out having some fun. Take a drink, take a drive, see what you can find.
Yeah.
We don't endorse that, obviously, but as the song goes, was that Mungo Jerry in the summertime?
Yeah.
I think so. It was a weird experience, but, you get a mix in Troy of, like, the big city vibe sometimes with a small town feel, so you get a mix of everything. But we're doing a lot here at the Troy Show. You might see my desk is just cluttered. We've got a lot of foam we got to put up on the walls, acoustic paneling and stuff like that. Best we can. We don't like to perma-fix anything here, so that was kind of the weird story that I had for the week. Kind of crazy. Well, let's go ahead and just start riffing on some news here tonight. I didn't get a chance to organize everything. Just a busy week for me, and, we do our best here. Gibbs, yeah, that's what the first one will start it off tonight. Gibbs me Gibbs. Gibbs suspends congressional campaign. Chris Gibbs, who campaigned as an independent to unseat Republican Jim Jordan from Ohio's 4th Congressional District, suspended his campaign Sunday after he didn't have enough valid signatures to qualify for the November election. That's coming from our friends over at Sydney Daily News. I say friends. I'm not actually friends with anyone there. I like to think of everyone as friends, disagreements or not. I think Kyle wrote this article, not me. But Gibbs learned he didn't have enough valid signatures on Thursday, then announced the suspension of his campaign Sunday evening through a Facebook Live video on his Chris Gibbs for Congress page. Zach, you know a little bit about, you've been talking about Jim Jordan.
I have.
What district is he out of?
Why do you gotta put me on the spot like that?
Oh, you're the district man. You're the political
I know.
man.
I normally am. And normally I'm really good at this. I believe it's the 92nd.
Well, what part of Ohio is Jim Jordan out of? Let's just kind of get to that, I guess.
I will give you the specifics.
Because Nino's out of the 85th,
I'm sorry, he's
I
the
believe.
4th congressional.
4th congressional district?
4th, yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
'Cause I've heard his name before. I don't know
I'm
if
a little off today. He encompasses a lot. Let's see. Some of the bigger cities. I'm just trying to find here. Some of the bigger is like Lima, Columbus, Tiffin, I never can know how to say this.
It's Ohio names, man. Yeah.
which is up by Cleveland, Lake Erie. Or
So he's
on
got
the
a
shores of
broad
Erie.
coverage.
Yeah, got a pretty broad coverage. He is not, unfortunately, he's not ours, but it still pretty much affects us still.
Hmm.
Or I'm sorry, he is ours as well. He does include Shelby County.
Now he's up there though. I mean, is he in the Ohio House or is he down there in D.C.?
DC,
D.C. So he's big name, Jim Jordan.
big name.
But Chris Gibbs suspended his congressional campaign. You want to read a little bit more about it? We'll have the show notes up and available to you as we always do after each show. Usually the day, maybe next day after the show, we put the show notes in the description. You can go find them, and you can kind of read along with us if you listen pre-recorded. We do appreciate you tuning in live tonight, but if you can't quite get with us tonight, we make the show notes available so you can go through and see them. A little bit more, again, this is Memorial Day. No guests really in the studio other than some friends of the show, and we're just kind of ping-pong balling tonight as far as getting through this thing. Now, Troy, let's see, for sports, I think this is a sports article here. Troy Borchers sign with Eagles, coming from the Troy Daily News.
Like the Philadelphia Eagles?
I don't think
Or
quite
like the
that high
Troy
up.
Eagles?
Let's look into the article here.
Because isn't Troy Christian...
Yeah, I think
the
that's what they're
Eagles?
saying here is the Troy Christian
Okay.
Eagles, I would assume, because this is coming from that. I really want to get more into local sports. Again, I started this show to get more in tune with what's going on.
Sure,
Kind of make
sure.
it a hub and a vessel for people to kind of recap. So
Well, and I think
I was looking forward to it this year. I was going
Yeah.
to go to sports games, kind of talk about them a little bit on the show. I'm not a sports analyst. I'll leave that to the people who are already doing that for our local
Sure.
games. But I just wanted to talk about them and kind of get more into it. And then this happened.
Yeah.
And so they're all of our
Then
local
the corona.
schools and area is trying to figure out how they're able to do this. I think they lifted some restrictions. I didn't get a chance to read them, but I think some of the restrictions have been lifted. But even though she competed in 3 varsity sports throughout high school, Laura Borchers, I'm guessing is the last name. Is that how you would say that?
Sounds about right.
Okay.
That appears to be Borchers.
We don't purposely butcher anyone's name here, obviously, unless we have a nickname for him. But
In this case, you would be butchering the name. I'm sorry.
I'm sure she's gone through life just that joke at every corner. It's like my last name. At least you're not a loser. But she didn't think she would be continuing her athletic career in college. Instead, the Troy High School senior adding an entirely new sport to her repertoire. Borchers, a mainstay for the Trojans girls soccer, basketball, and track and field teams for the past 4 years, recently signed her national letter of intent to attend Eastern Michigan University, an NCAA Division I college, and be part of its rowing team. So I believe that's the Eagles out of Michigan's university there.
That must be Eastern Michigan Eagles.
So she's climbing the ladder. That's pretty
So,
cool.
if I'm understanding this correct, she was not a rower beforehand. Am I
What does
understanding
it say here? She was not a rower beforehand. Let's see here.
Yeah, it said instead
she
the Troy High
added-
School senior added an entirely new sport to her repertoire.
That's actually really impressive. That's something you don't see a lot of, is someone going into a completely unrelated sport.
And rowing is extremely difficult.
It,
so.
it surprisingly is. I've watched some rowing and I was like, what in the world? Like, this is intense.
Especially when they get like 4 or 5 people in one thing and they're
Yeah.
just booking it.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting to watch. In fact, but we won't get to really see that for a while. We weren't supposed to have, was it Summer or Winter Olympics this year?
Summer Olympics in
Would've been
Tokyo.
So
Summer
we could have seen
Tokyo.
some rowing
Yep.
this year, and I guess we're
Yeah.
not going
It
to.
has it's been moved to 2021.
Oh, how's this going to affect? Are they just going to do?
I was just thinking that.
Well,
Are they just going to do 3 years instead of 4 and then get it back on track?
yeah, they're just gonna do the 3 years. From what I understand, they already have all of their infrastructure built, like all the stadiums,
Yeah.
everything they need for it. So they're not just gonna reset all that, you know.
I don't blame them. But congratulations to Laura here for moving up the ranks, going up to Michigan. What university was that? Eastern Michigan University.
Correct.
Going to climb the ladder, starting with the NCAA. Now we got some cool news out of Piqua. Actually, we got 2 really cool things out of Piqua I want to talk to about. But Piqua Urgent Care Center is going to open to the community in Piqua. Premier Health will open its newest urgent care in Piqua. The site is part of a larger rollout, which now includes 9 locations throughout Southwest Ohio. The Premier Health Urgent Care in Piqua, located inside the Outpatient Care Center, North Premier Health building at, 280 Looney Road. Piqua's got some good road names up there. You ever gone on Snodgrass or Looney?
I have.
You've been on
It's
those?
great.
They got some weird curves out there.
They do. They
But
do.
Officially open to patients on Monday, May 18th. The urgent care location will handle a variety of different healthcare needs, from minor illnesses such as sinus infections, earaches, allergies, etc., etc. That's coming from, I believe, the Piqua Daily Call.
Let me throw this out there for anybody who's never been to an urgent care.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not,
And,
If it's not
lucky for
extreme.
you, by the way. for
yeah,
not
if it's,
being
yeah, if it's not extreme, skip the ER. It's a lot cheaper for one, and two, you get so much faster.
Oh yeah, all these after hours
Oh, yeah.
places and urgent cares popping
it's
up are just
great.
making it a lot more affordable. The only
it's
con
amazing.
of this is there's this weird, I don't say weird in a negative sense, but it strikes me as odd. Like there's this Premier Health versus Kettering battle, and it's very heated. You know, if you say you go to Premier or if you go to Kettering, people start getting a little bit offended. And they did that a while back when the mayor did her national show of hero,
Yeah,
over at where they all get there and honk and flash their lights to show support for our healthcare workers. She caught flack for that because she didn't also go over to the
Miami Valley. Yeah,
But she said at the time it just wasn't feasible, not possible.
Yep.
We tried to work it out, we couldn't do it. But
Yeah.
then like a week or two later, all these in-house EMS personnel, so state troopers, local EMS, different cities, et cetera, like that, all showed up to do their own in-house celebration.
Huh.
But it just wasn't feasible to bring the
Right.
citizens out there, I guess. I'm not sure what the deal was there.
It-
But
it's
there's
a-
this internal conflict between
Well,
Premier and Kettering in this area.
And to be quite frank, like having an internal conflict between Premier and Kettering, it's a great thing. It all it does is it forces competition, and every time there's competition, it's going to help drive prices down.
That's the way I see it.
Mm-hmm.
I've found that introducing Kettering into the area has given everyone an option. That's the way I see it. If you're a fan of Premier, by all means, keep using Premier. But if you are a fan of Kettering, now you have the option.
Bingo.
And it's Kettering has built a very nice facility. It's no shade on the facility of UVMC, which has its own nickname. And we've said it here before. I mean, we're like we said, we don't shy away from stuff on this show. We talk about it. And they don't have the greatest reputation over at UVMC. And I think Kettering found that to be their chance to open up in this area when the Hobart property became available.
Exactly.
And it's much better than us having another shopping plaza that we got to try and get people to. It's much better than another bank, which we're getting a Greenville Federal over by Sherwood Plaza.
You know what else?
Used to be a Fifth Third, then it became an
there's
I-Forest, and now Greenville.
A right Pat going in Piqua, I think.
I did
as
hear
well.
about that. That'll be nice for Right
I
Pat
remember
users.
correct.
Because Right Pat, I mean, they still have, I think they've outgrown themselves to a point.
They have. So it's, to be honest, that there's goods and bads to small banks. I personally bank with Minster. It really is a small bank as far as it goes.
And you're up
There's-
that way. I mean, that's
Yeah,
your area.
Well, unfortunately, there's one here in Troy. There's one in Sydney. There's two in Minster. One in St. Mary's. One in Bremen. It's like they're decent, But there's also some negatives to it. When I used to bank at Chase, and it was nice to be able to just go to almost anywhere and find a Chase. You don't have that, and fortunately, the cool part with credit unions is you can go to pretty much any other credit union and still deposit money or withdraw money, and it costs nothing because they're all a part of the same overall ecosystem, if you will. So it's nice to see that Right Pat's kind of moving and really expanding outwards.
Yeah, I have a little bit of experience with Right Pat. I have a little bit of experience with Chase. I think Right Pat is really a good credit union for our area. It serves a lot of our veterans well. The problem is that, and hopefully this is a good sign for them, and they're able to expand and maybe grow their call center and whatnot. But it's good to have these options. And that's the way I see the whole Kettering versus Premier debate. I know a lot of people, it's a sensitive subject to them, and maybe they have a more personal connection than I do. But I think it's good just that we have the options. So expanding a little bit up there in Piqua, Friends to the north, getting an urgent care up there. Let's go see what we have next up on the list tonight. I had to stop printing articles out. I mean, I was blowing through black ink cartridges. It was like one or two, at least one a show almost. And I had that on draft quality.
Yeah.
I just wasn't
That
getting my
doesn't
bang for my
surprise
buck
me.
on that.
Yeah.
Well, this isn't the world's fastest printer. It's actually a Canon. It's the same as our cameras in here. That's I did not plan that.
Maybe that's a sign.
Well, maybe we'll mic it up one day and just listen to the printer whirring in the
Canon
background.
makes decent photo printers, but their regular printers aren't granted, every printer's gonna.
I feel that.
It's gonna get those lines, and it's gonna use a ton of ink.
I feel
anyways,
that. I
but-
wasn't going for quality for this. I was just going for text. So, well, hey, since we're being a little bit casual tonight, we don't have much of a format or things to get to other than some news articles. Let's bring Brad in. He's on the line right now. Let's go over to Brad out of Troy. Everyone knows Brad. Brad, how are you tonight?
I'm doing good, Kyle. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. You had sent me some stuff, and I figured that's what you're calling in to talk about tonight.
It is, yes. I was just wondering if you had the chance to take a look at that yet.
I did look at it. So basically what you're saying is you've got a petition that you created to recall the governor.
No, it's not to recall the governor.
Oh, to give the option, I believe, is what like you wanted to
Yes.
amend.
Yes, because a lot of people don't realize, and I talk to people all on different groups that I'm on. Hang on a second, Kyle.
Oh, sure. Yeah. It sounds like Brad is dealing with some stuff in the background. Brad's a very busy man, and he's a faithful listener of the show. And we do appreciate it. But he's got this petition out, and he'll talk about it and tell you in his own words here real quick once he gets back
I'm
to
back.
us. There he
I'm
is.
back. So anyways, after listening to Jenna Powell last week,
Mhm.
I realized that a lot of people don't realize that we do not have the recall in the state of Ohio to recall elected officials above municipal level. If you remember when you had Jay Roman on a couple of weeks ago,
Yes. We got a clip from him tonight,
he
too.
mentioned about PPP. Well, that got started because of a group that tried to initiate a recall 10 years ago against 4 of the Pickle City commissioners, and I was a part of that.
Mm-hmm.
So when Jenna Powell got on there last week and was talking about all this with the wine, I thought we need to get this out and make people understand they don't have the right to recall their governor, or the option to recall their governor when he's doing like he's doing. Excuse me, I'm a bit out of breath, so give me just a second.
You're fine.
here.
What are you running a
Yeah,
marathon
so-
for Memorial Day?
No, I had to. My dog. I took my dog with me to run into town, and she's a Siberian Husky, and she pulls me
Oh.
all over the place.
I got you.
So, anyways, I created a petition last Thursday, and put it on change.org. I said, I put on there, we need to get the right of recall. We don't have it in Ohio. Other states have it, because you remember back in 2003, and I don't know how old you were back then, Kyle.
But
the people of the state of California-
About 6.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. What?
I was about 6 years old, somewhere in there.
Okay. You probably don't remember what the people of the state of California did back in 2003. They got together and got rid of Gray Davis as their governor. And that's how Arnold Schwarzenegger got to be governor, was through the result of a recall election.
Oh, okay. I always wondered how he got up there.
So yeah. So I got to thinking, what are the legislators in Ohio afraid of that they never give the people the right of recall in the state of Ohio?
Well, it seems
And
like
just
that'd be a
2 days
universal
later-
thing. It would.
Well, yeah, the right of recall's been around for 244 years. If you look at the Declaration of Independence, it was even mentioned.
Well, let me ask you this, Brad. Do you keep up with the Huber Heights politics?
Not so much.
I don't either,
Not
but I
much.
do remember there was a campaign not too long ago in Huber Heights that actually ended up being fruitful and recalling, I believe it was one of their city council women. She had got in there on something she
Right.
had campaigned about, and I mean, the city was just not happy that she wasn't doing what she was stated that she was going to do. So they ended up actually recalling her. So what you're kind of saying is we don't really have any power at the state level for the governor to recall him, but we
Right.
can throughout little different municipalities. There is some of those powers built into their laws and ordinances.
Yeah, we can.
Correct.
So we have the ability on a municipal level and county level. We do not, however, have it on a state level.
Do we have it on a county level? Do we have it on a county level, Nate?
We do.
I don't think we even have it at that level.
I'm pretty sure we do, but it's you're talking a select few judges. I mean, as far as counties go, there really isn't a lot on the county level, other than a sheriff and some judges, I guess. I mean, really, it's more.
Well, there's your sheriff, there's your county prosecutor, your county
Correct.
commissioners, your judges,
But-
and your judges. Really, the only way you can get them out is you probably could recall them, but I think you'd have to file a impeachment charge. I don't know how that
Yeah.
works. I'd have to research that. But where I'm talking about it is on the state level. There is no
Correct.
right of recall against the governor or any of our state representatives. Now, this gets better. 2 days later, Jenna Powell was doing a live feed. She was talking about SB1. I put a question up and I says, well, are you going to initiate legislation that gives the people the right of recall? And she didn't answer it on her live feed, but she did answer it afterwards. Do you know what she told me?
I would assume some
You wanna know
political
exactly-
rigmarole.
That's why we have elections, were her exact words.
That's
And
why
I
we
looked
have
at
elections.
and I looked at that, and you know what my response to that was? So you're going to tell me we have to wait 3 more years for Governor DeWine to screw this state up even more?
That's it's an interesting thing that you bring up, and I think you're right on the money that not a lot of people are in tune, whether it be at the local level, which is what we try and cover here, and try and get people more involved. That's the point of the show, is to get people more interested and present it in maybe a humorous way or a serious way, whatever it takes to get people involved in their local politics. And so people aren't really aware of these things. And so it's good to have people like yourself, Brad, that are out there being passionate about their local politics. And because we had what Brad has been referring to here is last week, and if you would like to watch the full interview for yourself for context, we had Jenna Powell on the show, and she did make it very obvious that she wanted to come on our show based on the fact that it was due to we were in her district. That's why we wanted to have her on, so people could hear directly from the local people that represent her. And I remember phrasing a question to her, Brad. I can't remember the exact way I phrased it, but the question was kind of to try and draw out what do we do in these scenarios. And as I kind of expected, she's definitely very involved, very passionate about what she does, but there was kind of some political message hid behind it. And I can see where that frustrates a lot of people, because the question was kind of like, what do you say to those people that don't feel like their calls are being answered, that don't feel like their letters are being answered, or their Facebook comments? And we did kind of get a brush off, and she is new to all of this. Maybe she's finding out the political way is a little bit tough, but it's good, Brad. It's good that you question these things. It's good that people in the local area
But I'm gonna
question these things.
I'm going to tell you what this caused me to do. I didn't call her office to get support for this.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up going over to the 85th district.
That's Nino,
Okay.
isn't it?
Representative Vitale, yes.
Yep.
I've got to call into his office. I'm hoping he'll call me back. Because from what I've seen on his posts, he seems to be enough of a maverick that I think I could gain his support.
I would be interested to see that, because I thought about reaching out to him and having him on the show, because he is just like the next district over to the east, northeast of us. I believe he kind of covers like
Well, he's over-
Sydney, Versailles,
His district covers Champaign County,
Champaign County. Okay.
I believe.
I know he got a
If he's
couple
from over
bleed
in
overs
Urbana.
there, but I thought about maybe having him on the show. Hey, Brad, tell
Please
people
do.
where they can go check out this petition. And I think it's over at change.org,
Well,
isn't it?
Change.org, and I'll have to put it up on the website, because it's CHNG.IT/YH25TCPQG.
Okay.
And all the letters are capital letters, because it shortened it. It gives you one of those shortened URLs. Don't ask me why.
Yeah, it just kind of cuts down on clutter of web addresses. But hey, Brad, we'd love to stick around and talk a little bit more, but we do have to run. We got
I
a
would
ton of
love to.
news. But tell
But
me
before I
when
go-
you get
before
with
I go-
Nino, tell me
Yes.
what you come up with, because I'm assuming that you're not really. It's not a time sensitive thing per se, other than the next 3 years of your viewpoint on that. But tell me what you come up with, and then maybe we'll discuss it a little bit further on the show, and we can find a time slot. I'm kind of booked out on guests for like the next week or so, but we'll look at it.
Well, I'll tell you what, I really would like, my goal, hopefully, eventually, would be I'd like to come on the show itself,
Sure.
not just call in, but be on the show, talk more about this.
Yeah,
So-
we'll look at it right now. We got a lot of studio design. I need to just get off of my lazy butt and get more things in here. But we'll bring you up once we get all the glamour and everything up here and whatnot, and everything settled.
Oh, I don't care if it's blown to hell. I don't care.
Oh, well, we want to just
present
present your content the best that we can up here, and that's kind of our goal. I got 2 more cameras in this week, and then UPS screwed me over on the tripods. They're sitting up in Piqua somewhere.
Well,
hey-
listen, Kyle, I know you got other callers. I just want to say Happy Memorial Day. My grandfather was a veteran, and it's why we celebrate the day we do.
Well, thank you, Brad, for wishing us a happy Memorial Day. We appreciate the service that he gave to this country, and we'll probably catch you next week or so.
All right, thanks, Kyle.
Yep, you have a good one,
Bye-bye.
Brad. Bye.
Bye.
So that was Brad from Troy here, regular caller to the show. He's got a petition over at change.org looking to give Ohioans the right to recall their governor at the state level. We'll keep an eye on it, and we'll see what's going on. What do we got up next here? Let's see. Residents express concern with LCC plans. This is coming from LCC stands for the Lincoln Community Center. This coming from the Troy Daily News by Melanie Yinkst. The Lincoln Community Center announced its expansion project, but surrounding residents are concerned about its impact on their neighborhood. Last week, Cedar Street residents expressed their frustration with the plan to open the street's dead end to use for emergency and maintenance access, as well as overflow parking with one-way exit using the drive. Lincoln Community Center announced preliminary construction preparation and site work for the $3.8 million, 21,803 square foot building will begin this month. Executive Director Shane Carter addressed the Cedar Street residents' issues with input from the LCC Board President Karen Boone and Vice President Ken Willis, as well as head of the building committee, Bart I'll throw that one to you, Nathan.
Denlinger.
There you go. Carter said that the LCC, it's not, okay. I say this every show. It's constructive criticism. I'm going to keep saying it until I start to see improvement. Proofread, please. Unless they actually meant LLC, but I'm going to say for now LCC, does plan on using Cedar Street for emergency vehicles and egress for school buses, maintenance vehicles, and overflow parking during events. Carter said the center's traffic will not be directed to use Cedar Street as an entrance to the center. Now, many residents are saying that their street is quiet and lightly traveled, and children often play basketball or ride bikes in the street without worry of vehicles up and down the road. Carter said those children will have access to their exterior basketball court, playground, and green space. This project plan was not arbitrary, but a lengthy consideration for city codes and the most effective use of donated resources. We have tried to be transparent about our plans, but when trees on our property were removed, it triggered an emotional response. I don't care if there needs to be an ambulance coming through to the center. I get that. Yes, they said they'd put gates up, but gates can stay open and people will try to drive up through here to park. We don't have much here on this street, but one of the nice things is there's no through traffic, and now they want to take that away. How much through traffic do you think this would really bring? I mean, it's the Lincoln Community Center, and essentially I've talked to or met Shane. It's been quite a few years. But from what I could tell, he was just a super nice guy, and he was trying to do his best to provide an outlet for people at the Lincoln Community Center. And they're building a huge expansion. They've got the green light for that. And I guess people are upset now that they're going to have more traffic. I did reach out to them a couple weeks back before I even knew that the traffic thing was a problem. I just wanted them to come up here and talk about the expansion of what they planned on doing over at the Lincoln Community Center. I haven't heard back from them yet. I don't know if they've seen the email or not. I might just have to remake contact with them. Maybe they thought I was trying to get them up here to talk about this issue, and not necessarily. I don't bring anyone up here with a predetermined agenda. It's up to them to present themselves and talk about their cause in their light. And I throw questions out there just to try to address concerns, but we might have to try and reach back out to them on this one because I'd like to get a little more information on it before I speak too much. I haven't actually seen. See if you can pull up a Google Images of the Lincoln Community Center to see what they're talking about. Because it sounds like they want to take maybe like a cul-de-sac and they want to put a straight through to it and increase traffic.
Which I can personally say is annoying.
You think it is?
I do. They actually just did that to my street.
Yours? Were they
Mine.
connected to the county fair?
To the fairgrounds.
Really?
Yeah.
There used to always be a turnaround. That's the
And-
Sydney County Fairgrounds, right?
Correct.
I'm Sydney County. Shelby County
Yeah.
Fairgrounds.
And now they just tore down the fence to the fair and now have a bunch of gates up, and it's a mess.
How many people are coming through?
I mean, currently not as many, but realistically, the fairgrounds is pretty busy. So, this is a fairgrounds versus a community center, so it's a little different. But I mean, typically the fairground's actually pretty busy.
Can you try and get the street view for that?
Working on it.
Okay, gotcha.
So
Oh.
what I can't pull up.
Oh, gotcha.
Let's see.
But
Have-
so I mean, is it like just more traffic? I mean, it's a very short road already. That
It is a
you're
very
on.
short road. So the biggest concerns right now is, are they going to try to use it for parking when there's almost no parking to begin with?
Gotcha.
There's some other concerns that I have currently, one of which is when they did this construction, which was completely out of the blue, we have no fire hydrant.
Oops.
Yeah.
Where'd that go? They just leave the plumbing underground and just like shave
They
the fire
tore it
hydrant off?
out. Yeah, basically they tore it out and haven't yet to replace it.
I believe. Let me move some.
Well, we're gonna
stuff
try and
around
get an
here.
image up here for folks so they can kind of see. This is
This is, I believe, their plan for the expansion, or at least that's what it seems like.
yeah, because they have that existing structure at Lincoln Community Center,
Yeah, this one.
and that's
Or this
is,
one.
is that the expansion or is that the existing structure?
Let's see.
We'll try and figure out a little more
This
details.
it says final site plan.
Final site plan.
So this is what they're trying. I think that this is the existing building, and this is the expansion, I believe.
Well, for those of you listening along, you can kind of view this segment of the show through Facebook video, and you can kind of see what's going on here. Hopefully, we'll get someone up here to talk about this. I'd like to look into it a little bit further. So, residents are expressing some concern about the Lincoln Community Center expansion. Now, some things that residents have been expressing concern about a little bit more recently due to COVID is the utility bill repayment dates. Now, we've kind of had two sides to this, which is the water bill and the utility bills. And there for a while, it was going to be, you were going to have penalties, and then cities all across the country started saying, no, we can't do that to them. We're asking them to take off time for their jobs. They're not going to have an income. They're already going to be struggling enough to pay other bills. So what we're going to do is we're going to suspend penalties and we're going to suspend shutoffs, and then we're going to make them all pay it on the back end, which is still a little bit silly to me with how long the shutdown is going on. Had it have gone 2 weeks, like it was originally supposed to, instead of just this arbitrary date that one day we'll reach and we'll just kind of slowly open things up. Things are kind of coming back to normal, but this could go well into June now, or he could just totally reverse if he doesn't like what he's seeing and shut everything back down or go back to some other guidelines. So to me, to ask residents to go ahead and either pay in full, they're going to have to set up some kind of payment plan. So Troy is planning to extend its utility bill repayment dates, according to the Troy Daily News. City Council on Monday approved an ordinance to give residents and business owners 180 days to bring their account balance into compliance. So that's what I was figuring there. They were going to just kind of make a payment plan. Instead of expecting it all within 30 days, it looks like they're going to give you 180 days to recoup your losses, get back to work, and be able to pay your bill. Because realistically, a water bill and a utility bill, the utility through the winter will be your more expensive bill. And then in the summertime, which we're in, and fortunately so, it should be a little bit less expensive. For my current situation, it comes out to like $40, but I do suffer a little bit more heat in the summer. Nothing not tolerable, but I do suffer a little bit more heat. Now, my water bill, water bills have never been that big of a deal.
Ugh.
So thankfully, it shouldn't accumulate too much over the last 2 or 3 months we've been shut down, and they can get these paid off. They're going to give them 180 days to bring their account balance into compliance. Federal or state grants may also become available to assist those in need. The city averages 150 delinquent accounts, but those have since tripled, obviously, to 547 accounts due to the pandemic. Delinquent bills currently total $140,000, according to committee reports. Of the late accounts, nearly 300 are tenants, and landlords have been advised of those accounts as well. The legislation is specific to the coronavirus pandemic. I wonder if they have a way to kind of sort through who was actually affected by COVID, or if this property was just sitting unattended, or they weren't affected at all by COVID, and they don't have to. They don't qualify for the 180 days. I'll be interested to see people's plights. And remember, if you have an issue, get to your city council meetings. Obviously, right now, you're going to have to comment through Zoom or whatever outlet they make those comments available. But as soon as we can get in-person city council meetings going again, you need to show up to these things. It's very important. They're making it more public now than they used to. I used to never know where you could go find a city council meeting, but they're making it more public now. They're making the times more public. 7 p.m. I wonder where they got that idea from. For their Zoom meeting, for the last one that I read. I don't know if that was city council. It was one of the meetings they had. They had it at 7 p.m. I kind of was like,
I wonder why.
And it was on a Monday night.
Yeah, I wonder why.
And we still doubled the views.
That's all that matters at the end of the day.
But they'll try their hardest.
Small
but
flex.
We're still, it's just
Small, tiny
small
flex.
No big deal or anything. But we do encourage you, show up, get involved in your community. That is our message here. No matter what side you're on, you all have a reason for believing what you do and how it affects you in this community. So when these things start affecting you, or maybe they miss something, because there's only so much they can plan for, make sure to show up best you can, present your argument the best you can, and get on down there. So they are giving a relief of 180 days for utility bills.
Well, and to kind of add to that, I think a prime example, because I hear it all the time, well, my word doesn't mean anything.
It absolutely
I
does.
hear that all the time. It drives me nuts. Well, I'm going to beg to differ. Jay is a prime example of that.
Hey, go ahead and cue up. We have a clip of Jay tonight I want to share.
Yeah, I was
Go ahead and
hoping
cue
we
that
would
up.
just go ahead and lead into this.
That's why I wanted to go after next, because this is Jay, and I'll let you go ahead and finish your point.
Yeah, Jay had made it his mission for the past 2-3 years, roughly, to basically just hammer him all the time, and just keep the city commissioners in check.
Right.
And then last week he got sworn in as a city commissioner?
I can't remember. We had an image. I'd have to track it down in the
Yeah.
archives of the Troy show. We had an image of Jay announcing something to do with like civil service, I believe. But he's
Correct.
kind of working his way up to represent the people of Piqua. He makes it
thought
his
it
mission
was.
to show up to these city council meetings. And if he himself cannot show up, he has someone from Watch Piqua that he works with, from his Facebook group, Watch Piqua, show up to the meeting and make sure it's representative. That is his biggest thing that I can take away from Jay Roman out of Piqua, from Watch Piqua. And we had him on the show a couple weeks ago if you want to go listen to him talk. Excellent man when it comes to being involved in his local community and speaking up for people.
He's a full member of the Civil Service Commission.
Full member of the Civil Service Commission. So here's Jay Roman. We'll cut to it in just 1 second. Let me set the scene for you real quick. Jay Roman posted last week, I believe, on his Facebook page, he shared a memory of him at a city council meeting. And he had talked about this clip on our show probably, I can't remember how long into the interview, but he had talked about this clip where he had heard a city council member kind of throwing shade behind the scenes while they were prepping for the meeting, while everyone was kind of finding their seats, but just loud enough where he knew Jay was listening. So Jay gets up to the pulpit on this one and lets him have it. It's quite an interesting video. He shared it over at Watch Piqua. You can go replay it as many times as you want, but this is kind of the local passion. He balances the line so well here of taking a stand without going overboard. Let's go ahead and go over to that. Are we getting audio for that?
From last
There
week?
we go.
You remember when I was up here? You do? Okay. So my question for you is, why did you sit here at the beginning of this meeting when we were sitting down here at 5:30 and talk about my issue as if you didn't know who I was and I couldn't hear you?
Watch the 3 in the back. It's hilarious.
No, okay, that's fine. You don't have to answer.
me?
My other question is,
Are you
have
talking to
told
me?
people in public places. There's something you don't know about me. I've lived here my whole life. I'm in a national touring band. People know me. Probably about 75%.
That lady's
of people
face in
this
the
area
corner.
know me. Okay. When you're in public places and you're making comments about me, they tell me. Just like they told me the day after the last commission meeting that we were all stupid. Now, I can't prove that, obviously. But you obviously think this is a usage issue, okay? So, no, you've had your time to talk. This is my turn. So, if this is a usage issue, what does the usage that we use have anything to do with being charged to check our meters? Does our usage curb that? No, probably not. I don't think so. Does our usage curb not getting any extra time at the end of our bills if we need just 24 hours? No, it doesn't. It's beyond usage. And I would appreciate it if you stopped talking about me and the people who have real concerns in public places.
The dude in the back
Like it's
leans
not gonna
forward
get
like,
that.
this is getting good.
I ask you that respectfully. And I know you've had issues of calling people, I'm not going to repeat the words you used before. I'm not that one, man. I'm not afraid in this situation. You're not going to intimidate me or anyone here just trying to get answers. In my opinion, you shouldn't even be sitting in that seat. And that's where I'm going to leave it at that. I would respect it if you would respect my right as a citizen to get up here and say things without running your mouth outside of here. Thank you.
Thank you. That's Jay Roman from last year from Watch Piqua, letting him have it at a city council meeting. I don't think he went too far in that clip. I liked watching the people in the background. You saw that one lady in the corner was just like, oh, God, here he goes. As soon as he said something about, 75% of the people know him, because he's a very involved person. He's lived in Troy, he's lived in Piqua, he does a lot in the community, and he posts a lot on his page, and he's very quick. He will defend himself very quickly, and he tries to keep it as balanced as possible. So Jay gets up there because this guy had been going around. He's like, you guys have your time to talk. When we show up to this pulpit, it's our time to talk. And why are you talking bad about citizens who have real issues and concerns behind their back?
By the way, I think your previous evangelical affiliations are showing when you call it a pulpit.
That is true.
Most people would call it a lectern.
The lectern.
Yeah, it's a lectern.
Well, we could maybe split the difference, call it a bully pulpit or something. But he stands atop his lectern. That might be too fancy for a city council
pulpit.
meeting. Pulpit?
Okay.
I would think pulpit.
When I hear pulpit, I think of a pastor up there, but he is preaching.
Hey, he was preaching.
He was a preaching.
But he got up there and he showed up about his grievance. That's what we're talking about here in the community.
And that's what it takes, ladies and gentlemen. That's what it takes. As Brad called in a little bit ago and was saying, he realized, hey, we don't have the ability to recall somebody. Now, whether or not it passes, that's besides the point. It's only ever been done twice in U.S. history: 1921 and 2003.
Well, I think what Brad is saying is it doesn't matter what side you're on. Obviously, Brad has a side, but what he's saying is whether you're left or right, no one has the power to recall. And that could be a bad thing. And we just got to ride it out.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important for both, be it a local or a state or a national, is to let your voice be heard. Now, do it professionally and, don't be a dick about it.
Right.
But let your voice be heard, because it's the only way change is going to happen.
And I think I think Jay had some personal beef there as well with that particular person.
Sure.
So in that case, he kind of, got a little amplified at the end. And that's kind of how Jay is. Jay's a very outspoken, outgoing person.
very
He's
much
going to
so.
let you know.
Very much so. But, sometimes that's what it takes.
Sometimes if they don't listen, like he wanted to cut him off and give him some political drivel or whatever. And, sputter around. Oh, I'm sorry. You referring, just try to throw him off. And he's like, no, I need to say what I need to say. And I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to make it short, minute, 2 minutes, somewhere in there. And Jay had posted on his Facebook page a while back, probably last week again. I was following it. And he had kind of caught some flack for whatever he was speaking about at the moment. And people were saying, well, you don't care about the community. There is, and I said this at the beginning of the show, it is possible to care about your community and not just be completely positive about everything.
Yep,
and nor
exactly.
completely negative. I always try to balance some lighter aspects of Troy because we all live in these towns. You can't necessarily move for just any reason. Okay, everyone wants to say that their small town is the best small town. It's just a PR message that all the teams of these small towns send out there to try and bring business in. I get the government side of things. I understand they have to have their PR and they shy away from people like us. I get it. But there is a way to totally care about your community without being the most involved person or without being the most positive person. Maybe some people just live here and they like it low key, but every once in a while they need to speak up about something that affects them.
Well, and sometimes, to go on that, Kyle, sometimes the people who truly love their would be their town or their country or whatever the most are the ones who are the hardest on it because they know it can be better. I live in Sydney. In Sydney, let's be real, it doesn't have the greatest reputation in the world.
Dude, the self-awareness in Piqua and Sydney amazes me. I really respect them for that. I love going up. I like the people of Sydney and Piqua. And those two towns carry a reputation, but the people up there are the most real about it. Sometimes in Troy, I feel like people would rather amplify the positive too much and not address some of the issues that we need to get addressed. And you can do it in a humorous way. You can have fun with it, and you can make light of things like the parking situation or whatnot. It's not something that we have to sweep under the rug and act like it's just the best city in the world. It's the best city to those who live in it.
Correct. And there it is, self-awareness. We know Sydney's not, perfect by any means. We have issues. Our city council and our mayor are spending money on the dumbest of things, a fake clay concrete wall that
I
looks
heard about
oh
that.
God, dude, it's terrible.
I heard.
Look,
so Luke was telling me the other day that you guys up in Sydney are putting a clay brick wall or whatever.
Yeah.
So if anyone's familiar with the Sydney area, when you get off of 75 going north at exit 92 and you take a right to head directly to the heart of Sydney, which is a far more symmetrical downtown in my opinion. But
it
anyway.
is. And to real quick on that note, we are finally starting to really revitalize the downtown area.
You just got to stop people from running into buildings down there.
Well, that would help.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it leads to beautiful Italian restaurants.
I've not tried that out. I'll have to go up there and visit it sometime.
Well, that was a bank failure. I guess it wasn't. It was close enough.
Okay, well.
I mean, basically, it was like a car running into it all the time. It was just another bank in the town. Now it's a Italian restaurant.
Oh, okay. Is it open?
I believe it opened. It might have opened this week or here in the next week or two.
I'll have to go up
I
there
don't remember
and
exactly
try it
the exact
out.
date.
Oh, wait, no, I know what you're referring to
Yeah.
now. I've heard some rumblings. So
Sorry.
anyway,
sidetracked.
you get off of exit 92 and you take a right and you go straight to the heart of downtown Sydney. And along that route by Wilson Health up there is a 2-lane, so technically 4 lanes, 2 lanes on
yes,
each
2 lanes
side.
on each side.
And down the middle of that, all the way till the
Almost to the spot, basically.
almost to the spot, there is a guardrail down the middle. It just looks like a guardrail. It does its job. It's not the most pleasant thing in the world. But now they want to put a brick wall.
They have. It's a concrete wall.
I saw they were building it.
Yeah. And the best part of it is the guardrail's been replaced at least 4 or 5 times in the past couple of years. People get drunk, they're not paying attention, they hit the guardrail. That's what happens.
So now they get meted with. Is there anything different about this brick wall in Sydney that they want to put in? Like, is it safer? Does it cushion the impact better? Because when you say brick or clay over a guardrail, I would think a guardrail would probably be the better option and less damage at the end of the day.
I'm going to be honest, if it does, I don't know how because it's a concrete wall.
And they just tore the guardrail
A,
out.
So they
a
tore the-
guardrail will bend
Correct. So
with
they
the impact.
correct. So they tore the guardrail out. Tore up some of the pavement there because it had a like concrete floor, I guess you would call it, that the guardrail was anchored into. Tore that out, and now they have this probably 2-foot wide concrete rolled, like decoratively rolled thing. It was just a massive amount of money for nothing, to be honest.
What is their reasoning behind that? I
Dude,
get
I
beautifying
don't
Sydney.
know.
Sydney needs a little beautification here and there. I don't blame them.
Sure. Let's start
why
with the
there?
roads. Let's start with filling the potholes.
There was that one summer that Sydney was filling their potholes with gravel and
They
prime
still do.
They still do that?
They still do.
It's prime motorcycle season after winter, and they go out there and they start filling the potholes with gravel and
Yeah.
coming around turns like you don't even see it.
Yeah. No, they still do.
Absolute
and yet
shame.
they will not give straight answers.
And that's my problem. It's like, look, I don't have anything personally against you people when they're politicians. Now they're politicians. I know they're in there they love politics. They're in there to do their thing, and there's some intricacies of it that my brain can't handle, and some people are better suited for that. But at a low average level, as a citizen just living in these areas and traversing in them, why the hell are you causing any problems with people that say, yeah, the brick wall's stupid?
Yeah.
Like sometimes you have to call people out on that stuff, and they will defend it to hell and back over
Well,
nothing.
they're going to defend it because
And no one showed up in the first place. I'm sure. Usually this goes through
I'm
a
sure.
process. It usually goes through a process where they field this out to the citizens. No one shows
Yeah.
up.
So one of the biggest issues is they've gotten really sneaky about where and when they post. So they will post it in just kind of unusual spots. It's not open. It's becoming more open now because they're getting called out on it a little bit more. The other thing is they'll just do it. They'll be like, "Oh, let's they'll basically they'll bury it. It'll be like the omnibus bill.
It's like your Nike shirt.
Just do it. Yeah,
Just do it.
just do it. It's a new slogan, by the way.
Get that roll of duct tape, Nathan. We might get copyrighted for his shirt right now.
Yeah, we just added the slogan in. Now we're really done for.
Yeah,
But no.
now we're screwed.
So part of the problem is too is you're dead on. People not showing up is a big part of it.
Yeah, the wall in Sydney, not the wall we need to build. Ridiculous.
Oh, absolutely.
Just ridiculous. Leave the guardrail and beautify the sides there.
Right.
You know, they've done a lot of great stuff with like Wilson Health, and they're trying to beautify the city.
Sure, Wilson Health's done a lot of really beautiful stuff with Wilson Health.
Yeah. When I was up there working at the radio station in Sydney, I caught a lot of drift, and I could tell a lot of the people up there genuinely cared about their community and they wanted it to be better. So when your community's telling you we don't need a wall in the middle of a 45-mile-per-hour stretch, and don't tell me now they're going to lower the speed limit. That's ridiculous. It's 45 through there. It's fine.
45? I
And-
thought it was 65.
Most people
is that
do.
just what everyone does through there?
That's what
Well,
that
and
white
now-
sign on the side of the road suggests that you do.
Well, the funny part is now that they have this this wall, I'm a little confused how they're going to do traffic enforcement through
They
there.
couldn't before.
Right.
And I'm going to let you in on this, and I can't say that we condone it, but if you are street racing, make sure you hammered at the beginning when you let out from that light, because by the time you dip off and down, there's plenty of little places to dip off to at the end of that railing. They can't flip around quick enough to catch you
No.
because they got to go all the way down that guardrail. I always thought that was silly.
Yeah.
But anyway, they're putting that wall up in there, and it just doesn't seem like a good idea to me. Your calls, your thoughts, 937 696 7572. Oh, speaking of roads and stuff, Covington approves low-speed vehicle ordinance, according to Troy Daily News.
Oh, whoops.
Oh, hey, look at that guy. Look at that stud. That
My
dude's
bad.
lethal. Watch out. We're going to get to that clip in just a little bit here.
There we go.
But Covington approves low-speed vehicle ordinance. It says here the Covington Council passed on an ordinance Monday regulating the operation of mini trucks and low-speed vehicles on village streets.
What the hell's a mini truck?
I don't know what. I read that the first time, too, and I thought, what?
Wait, is that like one of those little Daihatsu things?
I don't know what a mini truck is. There's those guys that will build tiny semi-trucks. I've seen those.
I mean, I call a mini truck like a little S10 slammed on its balls, you know.
My little Ford Ranger. Yeah.
Some
Well, I think it's more geared towards like people on their ATVs and stuff, but Covington is such a rural area. It's only 25 up and down that little Main Street stretch there. I'm going to propose a different ordinance for Covington. It's called Take Care of Your Streets Ordinance. Have you been on their streets?
here. Yes.
Yeah, when I was
they're
in the semi
terrible.
going through Covington, because I'd take 41 back into town for some of my routes. Oh, my God.
Dude,
I mean,
they're
it's
horrible.
just bouncing. It's terrible in Covington's roads. And, oh, God, he hates Covington. He hates everybody up there. No, I just hate your roads, and I think you need to do something about it. Maybe there's some financial issues. It's a smaller town. I get it. Maybe the state's not being fruitful with their money to you guys, and you just can't redo the roads. Or maybe these little small vehicles are causing all these potholes. I don't know what's going on there. But Covington's like a weird, because it's like 36 and 41, but their roads are just not built for that kind of state route traffic. And it's 25 through there. But they passed an ordinance here. It says here, Council recognized National Police Appreciation Week. Oh, that's just some other stuff that they did.
Next.
Yeah, this is all just other stuff going on in Covington, which does not mean it's any lighter, but again, we'll put it in the show notes for you. You can go click the article, check it out for yourself.
I'm just back to the mini truck thing.
What is a mini truck?
Let me take a look.
Google mini truck for us.
Yeah, you got it.
That's why we have the video switcher in here, is so that we can figure out what a mini truck is. If you know what a mini truck is, 937 696 7572.
Okay. See that?
Let me.
Oh, it is one of those little Daihatsu
Yeah,
things.
yeah,
You nailed it.
So I guess that makes sense, though. Well, okay, now that we know for sure what it is, that actually makes sense because I have seen those a lot on farms. Using them to get back and forth between like farm buildings and different things like that. And a lot of times with your farmers, they are spread out. They're not necessarily in one area. So they may have, say cattle, cows, for example. They might have, maybe cows on one piece of land, and down the road they may have, let's say, steers or horses or whatever the case is. So they might, use those kind of like a side-by-side or an ATV.
Well, it says a little bit further. I was reading here real quick. You don't have to pull it up or anything. Regulations will include required inspections for proper safety equipment on these mini trucks and low-speed vehicles. These vehicles will be limited to streets and highways having an established speed limit not greater than 35 miles per hour. So maybe they were having some issues out on, like,
The main roads.
but like obviously this doesn't apply to farmers' tractor vehicles.
Yeah.
Those dudes
now I
can
think
drive it
about
anywhere.
that, yeah, it doesn't even make any
The
sense
mayor
there,
here
though.
in Troy has been posting pictures because of where her office is at City.
But don't tell
Hall.
me she's complaining about tractors.
No, she's no. I
was
won't.
gonna
I
say,
dog on her for
what?
enough stuff, but in this case, she was just posting a nice little picture on her Facebook of a giant ass. What was it? The sprayers essentially.
Okay, yeah.
They got the unfolding wings to spray the crops.
The big tall ones.
Yeah, big.
I always
huge
want to
one.
drive under
Well,
one of
he's
those.
been taking, and this is to kind of help. Everyone's always had that thought. It's not the safest thought
You
in the
may
world.
live in Ohio if you dream
Yeah.
of driving under one.
But he's been to kind of avoid. I don't know who this guy is. It's a nice gesture by him to not clog up traffic, circle traffic. Maybe he can't even fit through there, but he'll take the back roads kind of behind the. What is that? There's Cherry, and then there's that road that splits off when you come in from 41. There's a road
Okay.
that's- so he's
Yeah,
taking
yeah.
that by City Hall over there. And she's been posting pictures of him every once in a while. She's like, it's farming season in Ohio. And she just like posts a picture of this dude outside of her window.
Well, can I get a cheers to this guy for not clogging up the main roads?
Yeah, finally, someone who just-
Here.
I love farmers in Ohio that get over for a long line of traffic and then come back when they can.
That is a special
We hear
person
you,
when
we
they
see
do
you,
that.
and we appreciate you when you do that. So Covington out there with their low-speed vehicle. More regulations here from the City Daily News. The Great Sydney Farmers Market opens Saturday, May 23rd, with regulations in place to keep customers and vendors safe. But not everyone is pleased with the new set of rules. We've been in the produce business for over 30 years, and nothing is more personal to a person, to most people, than selecting their own produce. They'll grab a frozen box and they'll throw it in their cart, whatever. But when it comes to produce, they want to see it. They want to touch it before they put it in a bag. Aside from customers not being allowed to handle produce until after purchase, vendors are spaced roughly 20 feet apart from each other and are asked to put up tents to give a visual barrier with social distancing. Vendors are asked to limit what they showcase on tables and assign one person to assist with customers and one to cash customers out. Cashiers are required to wear gloves and sanitize, yada, yada, yada. The usual. It's getting ridiculous. It's produce. Produce comes from the ground. There could be disease all over it. That's why you wash your produce when you get home. That's why you take it upon yourself as the individual to wash your produce when you get home. You absolutely shouldn't have to. It's a farmer's market. And I'm just going to say it right now. This has been around. I believe it was confirmed, if I'm not mistaken, Nathan. It was confirmed in December or January.
Okay.
At least in our area of Miami County, confirmed that we have had COVID here since that time.
Yeah. Speaking of which, the antibody tests
Yes.
that they're doing. My grandmother took that.
How'd
and
that go for her?
She had the antibodies, but
Whoa.
she didn't get sick.
How old is she?
She's in her 60s.
That doesn't fit the narrative.
Yeah, I know.
Odd.
However, her husband's in his 90s, and he hasn't taken the test yet. But it'd be phenomenal if he does have the antibodies and made it through that.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm assuming by now he probably would if she tested positive.
You
for
would
him.
assume, yeah.
But that's my problem. We weren't doing any of this social distancing. We were conducting business as usual. We were living our lives, and we've hit, according to them, 80,000 to 100,000 deaths across the country.
Mm-hmm.
And I every one of those is sad. Whenever someone dies, it's sad. And there's many things in this world that can kill us, and it's sad, and it's time for those families to grieve. And at the end of the day, you just got to do your best. All of this stuff has existed before COVID-19 and will exist afterwards. We've always had to live in a world where we wash our hands, we wash our produce, we bring stuff home, and we clean it off. A Clorox wipe, little Dawn dish soap does wonders on ducks. It'll do the same for viruses. So get out there and clean. Let them go to their farmers markets, man. I don't see it. Fulton Farms finally opened back up. I'm really excited to go out there. I love getting my peppers and stuff when I do a lot of sauteing, cast iron skillet stuff. Going to go out there and get my produce. And yeah, I go. It's a farm. It's a barn. There's animals that relieve themselves there.
There's dirt.
There's dirt. And these farmers have been living out there forever, and they've been dealing directly with animals. I used to haul milk. I would go up to these farms, and they're very clean. It's amazing how far we've come with farms. It was one of the cleanest milk farms I was ever on. I was on a couple of them, and some of them were a little less. I won't tell you. You won't drink milk ever again. But this one that I regularly picked up at was very clean. And it's insane to me that people can't wash their own produce. I got news for you. You're going to be exposed to viruses out there. They're everywhere. Do your best. Live your life like every day is your last life, and live your best life, and be true to who you are. And if you want to wear a mask, I fully support that. If you don't want to wear a mask, I fully support that too. Just get out there and enjoy ourselves. It's warming up. We've had 2 consecutive days of over 90 degrees now. We're hoping that that's going to slow some cases here. We've got some COVID articles on here, some numbers later on. But we're taking it just a bit too far. No one, except for the extreme few, are arguing that the virus isn't real. The virus probably is real, 100%. It's a virus. New ones pop up all the time. You know, swine flu became a new thing at one point too. Everything's new at some point, and we unfortunately have to develop an immunity to it. Unfortunately, nature will take its course and take a few people with it, and it's very sad. But it's a virus at the end of the day. And I think the businesses, and it's been stated by many people, especially at local levels who are trying to support their local business, that their businesses were taking it into their own hands to wash off credit card machines, whatever the case is. You're doing no one any favor by grabbing a bag with gloves on, putting it in a bin, and then handing it to me using the same gloves that you grabbed a credit card from the first person in line.
Thank you.
You're not doing anyone any favors. Gloves, spacing, distance, whatever. You know, when someone starts to get within 2-3 feet of me, I think that's a little weird. You ask them to back up. It's totally your right. That, in a sense, is a violation of personal space, and that's been around forever. Everyone's always been doing that. I don't try to get in people's personal space. I try to cough into my arm. You know, whenever I can, I try to practice good hygiene. It's as simple as that. And it's very frustrating to me that at the local level, in these small farmers markets, man, they're just trying to turn a buck out there and present their product. So let's show them some support. And get out there and support them. And these guidelines will be in place. Me rambling and ranting about this won't change anything, but I really hope people kind of wake up and listen to this. We've gone too far.
I'm going to disagree for a minute.
Okay.
I think.
Well, I hate you now. You disagree. I can't do it.
All right, I'm going to leave now.
You have a different opinion than me. That's weird.
I do. So kind of.
Spit it out.
Look, I'm really having to watch how I word this. This is actually really difficult for me. The government is going to tell us you have to do it X, Y, and Z. The reality of the situation is people are waking up and they are not going to do it that route.
I think so many people were ready to just barrel down for 2 weeks and be done with this.
Yep.
And we all did
We're
and we got through it. What we're kind of confused by is just the constant blanketing of stuff that doesn't work. Like a mask can't work for everybody.
No.
Look,
a
people.
mask cannot work for everybody. The reality is half the masks on the market, unless you have an N95 mask and it's more or less tailored fit to you, isn't going to do shit anyway. The reality situation is people are starting to wake up. I just saw, this was over in Salina. One of the restaurants there had a sign on the front door that said, masks are not allowed. Simple. Doesn't do any good.
Just I look, here's the problem I have. I want to give the powers that be at the local level and here at Miami County, the commissioners, the mayors of all these towns, that honestly go with the wind on this one. We'll get to that in a second. But I want to give them the benefit of the doubt that they got hit out of nowhere. I want to, though. I think most people do. But I've learned to get ahead of these things. From day one, I said, this is not going to go anywhere productive. This is not going to be good, and there's going to be so much that comes out about this. I'm not jumping on this bandwagon.
No, what you're going to wind up with is people. You're going to have those who do and those who don't. You're going to have those who bow down and kiss the earth as if it is God himself walking on it. And then you're going to have those who have woke up and realized, why are we still doing this? Period. There it is.
There does come a
and
point.
there becomes the question. We are 3 months into this at this point. 3 months.
We just keep going.
And we just keep going.
Thankfully, things are opening back up a little bit, but it's just...
But it's taking court cases to get there.
The problem is they came out with these blanket statements and they just didn't interact with anyone. I mean, what I can give Jenna Powell the benefit of the doubt on is that she is kind of actively working with business people. Here's my problem. There's been a little slogan going around lately that says, Troy cares. It's hard to discuss this topic because there are truly a lot of people who care, and there's been a lot of great efforts in our community. The people, though, at the top that are claiming to care don't care. Otherwise, they would have said this at the beginning of this thing, as soon as the 2 weeks was over. But only until now, when this has gotten far out of hand and not enough people have been put in check for this to work with these businesses, only now do they come out and say, we care. And now that the people are finally like, okay, this is too much. Now they're on the people's side. A leader is someone who starts with the position and they view it from their principles. And don't give me this load about there were no documents and I just couldn't turn to the last mayor and ask him what was going on. There's one document, and it was made a very long time ago, that would give you the exact guidance of how you're supposed to handle this.
It's really simple.
To the people who are actually out there caring about these businesses, wanting them reopened, wanting to work with them, trying to figure out what works best for their business, I truly believe that Troy cares. But on the other side of things, I think we have some people that are swaying with the wind on this one, and they need to be reminded that if you're going to hold these positions and claim and run is one thing, you need to stick with them. And I will respect you far more than that, far more if you do that. So you really need to think next time something comes up, precedented or not, unprecedented, the number one word in politics anymore, unprecedented. You really need to just take a look at it. So you tell me if Troy cares. Also, you're welcome for the 7 p.m. time slot. I hope it works well. I'm glad we could pave the way on that one. And now this does not mean I have any problem with you at a personal level. This is one issue that I have, and I think it's very frustrating that people are turning to people like Jenna Powell, and they're doing their best now. They're turning to people like our mayor, etc. And our mayor, let me look here. I might have an example of this over in images. Parks, maybe. Let me go take a look here. No, boring. Well, I don't have any. Mayor Zero Risk. What's this one? Oh, okay. Here, throw this one up for me, Nathan.
Got it.
So here's something posted by our mayor on Facebook. I do want to give her credit. She's one of the most socially active, maybe sometimes too much for her own good. But she does repost a lot. She keeps us very informed. I'll give her a lot of credit for that. She says here, there are no guarantees. True. Ohioans will have to take steps to safely engage in activities, he said. And some people may opt out. She's referencing an article that she's posting on Facebook from Dayton Daily News. May opt out doing so based on their age or medical conditions. True. DeWine sidestepped a question about whether he and his wife, Fran DeWine, will dine at a restaurant soon. My answer, yes, we will. Acton also said that even if businesses follow all the protocols, employees may still get sick. True. Also true for customers. There's no such thing as zero risk, never has, never will be. So why, if you believe there's no such thing as zero risk, did you not come out when this all started and preach that message? You're more than welcome on the show. More than welcome to comment on it. I'd like to hear why do people in politics do this? And like I said, I wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt that for the 2 weeks thing, they did want to try that method out. There's nothing wrong with coming together as a country and trying to prevent and stifle this virus best we can. We have made leaps and bounds efforts to keep our citizens safe. We've abolished a lot of different old school viruses and diseases through these kind of efforts. But don't give me the unprecedented card of how you should play this thing. And don't tell me that business owners, private citizens, are a bunch of dumb people that don't know how to protect them from a virus. I like to believe in my fellow man a little bit more than that. I think that's about all I have to say on this. I'm sure something will come up from it. Of course, all opinions welcome here. 937-696-7572. Let's move on into the news here. Not a good sign for the Piqua Mall.
Oh, are they going to go bankrupt again?
JCP possibly going bankrupt. I guess I got the article confused on that one.
JCP did go bankrupt.
Oh, I know. I got it here. Nathan.
Okay.
Just copy that, paste it into the browser, and you'll get it. It did a weird glitch in the show notes this week. But JCP is filing for bankruptcy. What is it? So Elder Beerman, Sears.
Basically all the big boxes.
Who's left at the mall?
A bunch of small stuff.
I love going up to the Piqua Mall for the pretzels. Absolute institution there. I was telling Jay over at Watch Pickle, he's commented something about the mall, and I said,
What? Sorry, I'm having trouble getting this.
Just copy
this link up,
and then
Oh, okay, there we
paste it up there. There you go. Yeah, that should work. But anyway, Jay posted something about the mall, about the new owners have good plans for it. I really hope they can pull that thing back out of the kind of despair most malls are in. This is not singling out Piqua. Most malls are struggling due to just the internet, and that's just a fact of it. So they got to come up with something to get people in these malls. I said, if this mall just can't survive, wipe it out, put an Amazon center in there, warehouse center. Keep the pretzel place, and I can get those pretzels delivered by drone. It would take them like 10 minutes to get down here. Hot, fresh nacho cheese dip.
Yes.
I love.
That would be
Oh, my
fantastic.
God. Has anyone else here had the pretzel dip?
Yes.
You had the pretzels up there, Nathan?
I can't say I have.
Oh,
I don't,
Oh,
you're
dude,
missing
they're
out.
so good. You're missing out.
I only ever went to the Piqua Mall when Sears was liquidating. So
Their cookie cakes are amazing too.
Well, hey, best of luck to the Piqua Mall. We really do hope they can pull something together, get people in there. There's a couple stores in there I still go to, but JCP, not looking good, filing for bankruptcy. Department store chain JCP, according to the Piqua Daily Call, recently filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and while the fate of a local location of the store at the Miami Valley Center Mall is currently unknown, closings of a number of JCPenney stores are expected. As part of its reorganization, the 118-year-old company said some of its stores will close in phases throughout the Chapter 11 process, and details of the first phase will be disclosed in the coming weeks. A lot of people will write this off. They're outdated, whatever. It was probably coming at some point. COVID definitely accelerated that. I'm not one of these people that's like small business, big business, big business. I am one of these people that is I'm for all business. Business gives me a job. Business makes money in the economy. I love it. I think they all need our support right now. And I think I'm not going to just support someone based on their stature level of how big their business is. Give me a good product and I'll support it. And I'll support it. I really will. And I think our local businesses definitely need our support in this time.
Absolutely. The shutdowns, the shutdowns accelerated.
Microphone's over here.
Yeah, I know. Sorry,
Just
my
messing with you.
mind's like
No,
half
that
gone.
thing drifts.
Um,
Drifts.
The shutdowns have accelerated. I would say about 80% of basically looming shutdowns.
Yes.
There's no doubt. Look, the reality is most small businesses are 1 to 2 months away at any given point in time of closure. JCPenney's was, I'm to be honest, quite shocked it's lasted this long.
Really? I'm surprised they were the ones that held out.
They have struggled very hard.
JCPenney they did a good thing. Like a lot of people still shop there for their fashion,
Correct.
Guys' clothing, women's clothing, etc. So JCPenney's kind of held on just due to that. Some of their deals, good pricing. But eventually that's just going to go the way of the wind.
Yep.
And so, hey, I mean, JCPenney closing, that's
Well,
good for all these boutiques and
and,
clothing stores down here.
yeah, I mean, most people don't want to buy clothes online because you have no idea how it's going to look, how it's going to fit.
Exactly.
cetera.
But I've learned now I'm adapted to ordering from Amazon. I've gotten to the point now where Amazon's getting the product to me, getting it sent back if something's wrong or doesn't fit, and then returned.
and there
it's to
it
the
is.
point where like I'm just like, I don't know, 3 or 4 days or go to the store. I don't
And
know.
there it is. And that's you just hit the
Because
nail
it
on
used
the
to be
head
to
with
get something to you 5 to 7 days
Yep.
and then back. And so
Now
forth.
you're talking,
less than a
with
week.
Prime, you're talking 2 days here. Returns
Yeah.
are so simple.
And
They
then I
don't
pay
care.
$12 a month for Prime.
Right.
I should pay all in full and get a discount, but I don't.
I need to
pay
do the
monthly.
same.
So it's kind of some sad news for the Piqua Mall. Like it comes at a time where they're really trying to revitalize that property, and I hope it doesn't affect them too much. If anything, it just opens up a big space for someone to do something with.
Yeah, I mean that's just it. I think they have the possibility to find people who want to come in. But it's going to take some changes on their end, and hopefully they can do it. That's all we can say.
Yeah, let's
Like,
hope for it.
Yeah.
Let's hope for it. Well, we got some pool updates. This has been a hot topic in the community. We've got some pool updates for everyone. So here's the bad news. We'll get it out of the way.
The
Piqua,
Pool's not
Sydney,
opening.
and Tippecanoe, the pool is not opening. But Troy, being the shining beacon of cities around here, the big city,
The shining beacon of health.
Troy is opening the aquatic park, everybody. Good news. Let's read into this one here. They got a little PDF out here. TroyPool.com is where this is coming from. At the Troy Recreation Board's monthly meeting held on Wednesday, May 20th, the board announced that it will open the Troy Aquatic Park for the 2020 season. That's the one over by Hobart Arena there. The facility is scheduled to open on Monday, June 15th, and will close for the season on Sunday, August 16th. So June 15th, pool access. Now, due to the limited maximum capacity of the facility, due to the state of Ohio guidelines, all season pass holders that had previously purchased passes for the 2020 season will automatically receive a full refund. I really like that. Good on you. That's a good step. Because this was asked of us by our country, by our government, so we need to be refunded for these things. Full refund by check that will be made payable to the payer and mailed to their address on record. If that address has changed, the pass holder must contact the recreation department before June 1st. Now, their concessions offerings will obviously be modified. Always carry food and beverage permitted. No glass. Limited lounge chairs will be provided. No swim team, water aerobics, swim lessons, party deck rentals, and private party rentals. Previous rentals will be refunded. No locker rentals available. No showers available. Youth must be accompanied by a parent, guardian, etc. They've got some good operational hours.
The showers part is a bit confusing to me because it's common
Isn't it common hygiene to rinse off
it's
beforehand?
common hygiene etiquette to take a shower before you get into a pool.
That's what I thought.
You would think. I mean, maybe if they closed off, every other shower, that might make a little bit of sense. But no shower seems a little dirty to me, personally.
Yeah,
Agreed.
a lot of people shower when they get out too. It gets some of that chlorine off
Correct.
of them.
Yeah.
Especially at beaches. Beaches offer those little showers.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's not the most sanitary thing in the world. Obviously,
better
nothing,
than nothing,
is.
though.
But you'd think they'd want to keep those open at least. I don't know. So that's good news. The pool drama is kind of over. Let's Change Piqua. That's a page that I follow as well. Very passionate person who's in charge over there. He was going on about the pools, and he's saying that really it's not COVID. They're just using it as an excuse because they've had some struggles with the Piqua and Sydney pools of finding lifeguards and a lot of money stuff. I'd recommend if you want to follow those kind of things, go check it out. That's Piqua.
Look, I don't. I.
So why can Troy open?
I do not want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but I would not be one bit surprised to find out that that is the real reason that they're not opening. I know they struggle year in and year out to find people. It's not from a financial
Well,
perspective.
they're even saying that it's not even like the lifeguard thing. They're saying that it's got to do with them poorly shuffling money behind the scenes.
I would not be surprised.
Because-
I will admit I've never looked into the financials of the pool in Sydney. I'm gonna be honest, it's not something I've never really thought about looking into.
I don't use
it.
the pools. I'm not a big
Right.
swimmer. I swam a lot as a kid in my own pool, but I never really swam.
But I wouldn't be surprised. It's the perfect reason to keep it shut for a year.
Well, here's the problem. I don't buy the lifeguard thing because if it's truly COVID-19 affecting you and you can't find lifeguards, man, as soon as they get these state regulations open up coming out of June here,
Right.
guess what's going to happen? There's going to be a lot of people who need part-time work or summer work or a
Right.
lot of kids that won't, have their jobs. Everyone's going to want some extra cash. I don't think you'll have a problem finding a lifeguard. I don't know how much training it takes to become a lifeguard. I don't know how long of a process that
I
is.
don't think it's very long.
So maybe that's it.
Maybe
but I think
somebody
that's a little bit
knows.
of a silly thing.
If you know, call in.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You know the
Yes.
number. We got it there on the screen, 937-696-7572. We'll see where it goes. But the good news, Troy Aquatic Park, with stipulations as everything this year, is going to be opening up. Somehow Troy pulled it together. I don't know how everyone else didn't, but we'll find out.
Good question.
Moving on to the next one. This is going to be a WHIO one, so they got a video at the top. So just scroll past that. I don't want to steal their content like that. But this one coming from WHIO out of Bradford. Kind of a sad story here. A 2-car garage was destroyed after a fire on the 200 block of East Church Street in Bradford. A neighboring house and a garage were damaged by the fire along with the electrical wires near the structure. DP&L crews were called to the scene to make repairs to the electrical lines, according to our crew on the scene, WHIO's crew. The call came into dispatchers just before 4 a.m. The cause of the fire remained under investigation. I think it's still. I don't see any updates on this story yet, other than the electrical wires. I think that's what they found. No, is that the same one?
That's the entire article.
Oh, this one. Oh, you're going to hate pulling up this one, Nathan. I know you're going to hate this one.
Okay.
This is a big blow. Huge blow. The Enon Apple Butter Festival
Oh.
canceled
That's a damn
due
shame.
to COVID-19.
Oh, come on, people. Why are we canceling stuff months out?
Not the Apple Butter Festival.
Like, for real. Why are we canceling stuff 2-3 months out?
we already lost the Strawberry Festival. The year's over.
Oh, we lost country concert.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I cared, but
Oh, we do have that coming up, too. Yeah. We got,
no, it's canceled.
I know. We got it coming up in the show, though.
Oh,
Yeah, we got
well, there
country
you go. I
concert
spoiled
canceled.
it. Country concert's canceled, rescheduled for 2021.
Absolute bummer. I guess I
There.
can actually use the Sydney Walmart this year. Now, that is a blow to country fans. I'm not a country listener, but I do know a buddy. His
It's
name's
not
Austin.
a blow to
Huge partier.
country fans. It's a blow to alcoholics
It's a blow to pop country fans. I don't think like there's any old school Hank
and the
Williams
local
playing
economy.
at this thing. And
It does kill
that
the
is
local
the only
economy.
thing that I am sad about. While I'm not a country goer and I make fun of country concert, it is a huge blow to those people who profit off of it, and it's unfortunate. But for Enon, and Enon's a small place too. Nathan and I were out there last year. He had
correct.
told me about this mystical apple butter festival, and I said I got to go to that. I
Have
love
you
that.
ever had
I-
apple
okay,
butter?
Here's what's in my head about this festival, right?
God,
I
okay.
love apple butter. I've had it a lot. For some reason, my dad
I've heard
puts
this.
butter on the sandwich and then apple butter, and he calls it out. Anyway,
That's weird.
I'm a straight up guy. Apple butter, 2 pieces of bread, and we're good to go. So I'm in my head, I'm thinking, wow, there's just a lane like the Strawberry Festival, right? They just got strawberry this, strawberry apple, and I'm just like all these different dishes. And I'm thinking, okay, there's this lane of just apple butter everywhere. And we show up, and there's one tent selling all this apple butter. And I'm looking at Nathan, I'm like, where is the other apple butter places? Like, where can I go get like little different dishes, different takes on apple butter? And he's like, no, that's just it.
That's
You're,
it?
you're,
Just
you're
in the
limited
village.
to 2 mason jars full of full of apple butter.
What?
It's made by I forget who the organizers are, but it funds. Oh, here it is. It actually shows it in the article. The Enon Community Historical Society.
Right.
So
I get it.
They actually get all the proceeds from selling the
And
apple
I get
butter.
that. And I thought, well, wouldn't it be cool? Because when I was very bummed out by this thing, because while the apple butter is some of the most delicious apple butter I've ever had the pleasure of spreading onto a Wonder Loaf slice of bread, and I still have some in the fridge, actually, and that was so many months ago. I was very disappointed, and I had this thought like a couple weeks ago when I saw we were talking about it, Nathan, I think, and I said, why don't they just have 2? So they have like the tent where you can just go buy the apple butter straight up. And then they make a secondary huge batch and they sell it wholesale to the people who want to show up to these events and let them take their spin so they're still getting all the proceeds.
You would think.
That's the best move because then I can really enjoy the festival. Because other than that, I mean, it's just your typical arts and craft. It's kind of what the Strawberry Festival has turned
There's,
into.
you know, funnel cakes.
Yeah, and I know-
lemonade slushies, things like that.
So
you know?
basically, you go there, you buy some apple butter.
You buy a
leave.
$50 piece of wood someone, wrote "bless this mess" on or something like that. Hope, live, laugh, love, or whatever. And it's fine. I know a lot of people enjoy that stuff, and that's great. I get it. But it's the Strawberry Festival, and when I can't find one strawberry pie over 2 days, and I have to go down to what used to be Ordings to get it, one of some of the best strawberry pie around here. And that's just saying something about the festival. They got it too corporate, man. They got it too stingy. The rates are too high. It's just like they brought Pepsi in a while back, and that just screwed over a lot of stuff, too. All the lemonade slushy stands of the festival. I hope they take this year for reflection, and they plan out a great get back to their roots for the Strawberry Festival, because the people who put that thing on do great work. They entertain huge crowds. It takes a lot of work. I've worked at certain booths there in my youth, and it's just frustrating to me. Like, the options at festivals are becoming less and less.
And that's the crazy part is, Oktoberfest, obviously, it has never changed.
No.
Like I can literally tell you where a specific type of food is because they're in the same place every year. And we're talking since I was a little kid.
That's a while ago.
Yeah, no kidding. You're not wrong there. It's been a long time. But it's like, how do some of these other places change so bad? Like where they just become, you're just like,
I don't know, man. I
there's
think
no point in going.
it's just whether it's city officials, government, I don't know, meddling in it to the point where like the only people who can afford it are the arts and crafts people because they can pretty much show up at any festival. So they have a lot that they can go to. But when your niche is strawberry, you have to wait for things like the Strawberry Festival. And I think they've taken some of the fun out. The Strawberry Festival is a huge deal for our nonprofits and bringing in money for our community. I don't want it canceled. I just want it reworked. I don't have a huge gripe against it. I just feel like a lot of the fun has been taken out of the Strawberry Festival. A lot of the intrigue, mystery, going around to different booths, finding more straw. It used to be people were yelling stuff at you. Deep fried strawberries, strawberry pies, strawberry hot dogs, whatever the case is. Strawberry jam on your hot dogs.
Wait, that's the thing?
Oh, it got crazy, man. People were just yelling a bunch of crazy stuff out.
Strawberry jam on your hot dog?
I don't know if that specific one existed.
I'm
But
not
I
gonna
remember
lie, that'd
people were
probably be
making
pretty
like
good.
spreads and stuff, and they were putting it on weird items. One of the booths was doing
Stop.
deep fried Twinkies. They tried to do that. I mean, people used to just
Deep-fried
have fun and get
Twinkies are
creative. You could
amazing.
find places that had cans of soda for like 50 cents.
That's cheap.
Yeah. Well, that's to our fans down south. Soda up north here. Pop. Soda pop if you want to split
Soda-
the
maybe
difference.
soda
But
pop.
then Pepsi came in and they were like, no, you can't just go to the store, buy your own cases. We got to sell it to you for this wholesale price or
Ugh.
whatever. Now it's like $1, $2, $2.50 to buy just a bottle that's going to kill you anyway with sugar in it.
Look,
It shouldn't be
I'm
more
gonna
than
put it
50
out there.
cents.
Pepsi is just Garbo as a company.
Yeah, Pepsi's a little rough.
They have just destroyed every time they come into a place. It gets just destroyed.
You're hurting Nathan's feelings right now.
Sorry, Nathan.
He's over there.
I'm a bit of a Pepsi guy.
I'm sorry.
I'm a
about
I don't.
Pepsi. I'm a
I,
cool guy.
I don't condone what the company does, but I think Pepsi's better than Coke.
It's okay.
personally.
I love Mountain Dew.
Ooh, I don't know if we should
Well,
get into that territory.
Mountain Dew is a Pepsi product. So.
Look,
I know.
I'll say some risky stuff on this show, but you get into the Coke versus Pepsi debate. Uh-oh. Anyway,
Look,
the
if I
apple
want
butter
to, if I
festival.
want to smother my insides with soda, I'll drink a Coke.
I'm kind of with you there on flavor.
I
I
can
like a
basically-
Diet Pepsi, though. It's
I
kind of
mean,
weird.
you can basically just clean porcelain with it, and it's good.
My point is, I've
That's a bit of
actually
a
used
rabbit
it
hole.
to polish the chrome on my semi-truck stacks.
See, there you go.
You can use a
That
Diet
was not
Coke
kidding.
with a light wool, and you can steel wool, and you can polish chrome with it. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, the Eden Apple Butter Festival canceled. It is a huge blow to those people who are counting on the revenue. I do feel bad about that. But just some ideas for the Strawberry Festival and the Eden Apple Butter Festival. I love what you guys are about. You just need to kind of bring some of the roots back. That's kind of what I feel on that.
Mayor, we know you're listening. Or
I-
one of your people
She
are.
listens. She knows.
Just some suggestions.
I get it. We're not the best PR for the city, but we're just ordinary citizens having fun. Talking about
I'm
the community
waiting
we
for her
love.
to call in one of these days.
She's more than welcome to.
I hope she does.
And to be fair, I haven't reached out yet. There's nothing I've really reached out to her yet because she's so public. I mean, it's
Right.
like she says it all in public. I appreciate that about her, honestly.
I really would like. I mean, I really would like her, legitimately, to
I
reach
voted
out
for
and
her.
just talk. Just talk. Let. I'm coming to you right now and saying, let's talk.
She does, just on city approved shows.
Yep. No city approvals. No nothing. Just raw. Let's talk.
Look, I do this at no cost to the taxpayer, and I'm sure a lot of other people in the city do a lot of great media work as well at no cost to the taxpayer. Troy's very fortunate, in my opinion, to have all the media outlets that it does.
Absolutely.
While I have disagreements with other media outlets in the area, they are fortunate, and they've done good work, and they've built them far more than I ever thought that they could or would.
Yep.
And that I do give them a lot of credit for, and I think our city needs to utilize that best that they can. Troy's weird in that sense. Like, imagine you're like a city council person. You're like, I'll just run, mess around my community and do what I think is good for it. And then you get greeted with just like 3 media outlets constantly talking about like it's national news. And I think it's important to talk about it like it's national news. I think it's important to give these issues the same attention.
I just got a message on my phone for whatever reason. I randomly checked it, and a listener, personal friend of mine. So normally we do not do Facebook messages, but a personal friend. I had no clue
This is
what it
coming
was
from
about.
your phone. This is not Troy's phone.
He said it takes about 30 hours for lifeguard training.
30 hours. Okay, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say it's a little bit of a silly excuse. Thanks for that insight to
Yeah.
whoever you are. We appreciate it. Thank you, Zach's friend. Well, let's go to the, this is a fun one. We can all get a laugh out of this. I felt like laughing a little bit and relaxing the show a little bit this week. Miami County Bugle Caller, our friends over there. I'd love to call them friends. I'd love to know who runs it. Obviously, we protect your identity because it is such a great work that you do, providing comedy here. Oh, God, the ads are hilarious. It's satire website. So this is satire. Following is satire. Satire, satire, satire. Someone will still say that I said this is fact. A large company offered $3 million for our website, and we said no. A large media conglomerate called Herix Corp Enterprises, located in booming tech hub Union Township, recently submitted a bid to purchase the Miami County Bugle Caller for over $3 million, but we said no. MCBC executives did not even bother to inform the lawyers before declining the offer. As such, a small amount of money would never be enough to hand over the keys to Miami County's most trusted source of news. At this point, it's becoming that. In 2019 alone, the MCBC brought in over $2 million in ad revenue from booming local businesses such as Shafty's Brew House, Yacht Topic, and Hardballs Casino, using the site to promote their businesses. And if you're watching the live feed, you'll just see these ads cycle through for fake stuff that they've made.
Danny's custard wagon.
Danny's Custard Wagon. I'll have to contact Danny and ask if she started that.
Yacht
There's
Topic.
Sprite Goose. We know how you smell. We keep you safe. Don't worry. Sprite Goose. It's just a goose. What's that one? Steel Lounge. If you're not
Wow.
here, you're nobody. All right. Well, we know the local businesses know pretty much nothing about display advertising. They have no handle on attribution, so we just charge high rates per impression on our website and take credit for a majority of the foot traffic in their storefronts. It's basically printing money, and we're only getting started. said MCBC's CMO, Martin Schreckle. We're not you saw it. We're not surprised these media groups want in on the action. Their offer to purchase MCBC came in just weeks after the Miami Valley Media Conference, where MCBC presented their aggressive growth trajectory with plans to launch various mobile applications and several groundbreaking website features, pushing the frontier of local news. And you know exactly where this is going right here. The nerds at AIM Media, TDNnet.com, and Miami Valley Today.com were left completely speechless at the sight of presentable digital media and were aggressively taking notes on how to improve their antiquated websites. The representatives that wanted to buy MCBC present at the conference were immediately intrigued as they saw the competition scrambling. Yeah, they show a picture and it's just an old, early 2000s, late 90s computer with just tdn-net.com underneath. MCBC's rivals were quivering in their seats like little babies. That's when we knew it was time to buy in. I've never seen such a polished website packed with stellar content and relevant advertisements. In the next 5 years, people might look at the MCBC like it's USA Today, said Loam Malhue. They come up with some of the greatest names. For more updates on booming local businesses, such as the Miami County Bugle Caller, you know what to do. Subscribe to our newsletter. Follow us on relevant social channels.
Wow.
Visit Lake St. Mary's. Scenery, water, cheap boats, manure runoff, and radioactive fish.
There was one that came up a moment ago. I don't know if you saw it, but
Did you see that one that said Passion
Yeah.
Winery open on Tuesdays?
One said Miami County Pyramid Schemes.
Wow.
Oh, boy.
Bugle Caller, great satire over there. We love what you do. It's funny, poking some fun at it. I mean, look, I love the Troy Daily News. We use them here all the time. It's great what they do. You know, but seriously, update your website. What's the deal? It's not that hard. Go to Wix.com, Squarespace. Do not watch YouTube. There's all these advertisements out there for just easy, convenient, cheap, super cheap website design. Love what you do at the Bugle Caller. Love what the local news does. We do appreciate it. We'll have a laugh here or there. Hey, Lenhart, this is coming out of your area, Zach. Sheriff Lenhart. I used to do morning
we
segments with
aren't
him
masked police
at the Sydney station. I used to do morning segments, and this sounds about on par for Lenhart. He's a nice dude. As a sheriff, he's a nice dude. He's done stuff I disagree with, like everyone, but he is a genuine dude. He's a good sheriff. It says Shelby County Sheriff John Lenhart has a firm handle on his office's role in the enforcement of people wearing face masks in public. Our position is we are not going to be masked police, said Lenhart during his weekly interview. I'm counting on Shelby County citizens to make the decision of what's best for their family. Well, I mean, I don't know how Lenhart came to that conclusion. It was unprecedented. He just couldn't look to the past sheriff to figure out what was going on.
Right.
How did he ever just come to
Almost like he made a decision based on the oath of office he took.
Weird.
Weird.
And sheriffs are elected. I wonder why he seems to have more concern than maybe police chiefs do.
Right.
Do we need to switch to an election there?
I
Yes.
think that's actually a legitimate concern of something we
Absolutely.
should do.
That could be Brad's next petition.
There we go,
if we can
Brad.
figure
I know
this
you're
out.
listening. There you go, buddy.
There you go. Another idea for you.
Here, here.
Wear a mask, said Lenhart. Keep things clean. Observe the 6-foot social distancing guideline and the number of people in a group. Safety is our responsibility. If someone calls about a large party, we'll respond and observe the situation. Then we're going to report back to the health department. No criminal citations will be given out by the sheriff's office, said Lenhart. I've been asked by people about their graduation parties. The rules say 10 people or less, but that's their call to make. We're not going to interfere. He goes on to say a little bit more about it. If you want to read a bit more on his stance, Sydney Daily News has that article for you. We'll have it in the show notes. We always post those in the description about day after, maybe 2 days after. Absolutely fascinating. I don't know how he came to that decision. We already did the Troy pool. What else do we have here? Troy PD police reports. And basically, all I want to talk about here is, I want to say there's like 3 or 4, if we scroll through here,
Sure.
of just people getting
Tell me-
bopped for weed.
Tell me when.
Just
That's
anywhere.
still a thing.
Yeah, oh my God, the amount that are in here is just too much.
All right. I'm just going to go out here. If you're a cop and you're seriously popping people for pot, you, 1, deserve not have a job. 2,
I don't.
2, for real, don't you have better things to do? Like, I don't know, go after, I don't know, human traffickers. That seems to be a hot topic lately. Or, I don't know, the heroin epidemic.
Here's
maybe.
one right here. Ryan Simmon, 25, of Troy, charged with possession of marijuana. Who cares?
Jury nullification.
How much? Was it pounds? I didn't even care if it was pounds.
I agree, Zach.
Jury nullification.
However,
next, please.
most of these will probably go to what are they called? Plea bargains.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. I'm absolutely positive because it's easy money for the county and easy money for the police department who gets a kickback out of that.
Did you see this one? Disturbance on May 11th. An officer responded to the Royal Inn for a couple arguing over cigarettes.
No charges.
No charges. Let's see here. What else? I saw a couple in here,
There's some
and
thefts.
it was just like, the rest of these are probably all well and good, but like,
there's another possession one at the very top.
oh.
Possession. Do we have a name?
An officer was stopped, or go ahead. An officer stopped a vehicle near Honda.
Near Honda, and then there was what, weed?
Open container observed in plain view. Marijuana, a scale,
Well,
and a
that one's-
grinder were located.
Jury
The
nullification.
the open container, that's different.
No, it's not.
We had open container. in the
I don't
vehicle.
care. So what?
Yeah.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem with open container laws. If I were to crack a bottle of booze open here, say I bring a bottle of Crown Apple, and I have a glass, I am 100% still legal to drive. I am under 0.08. But because I have opened it and it is no longer concealed, or sealed, not concealed, sealed, because it is no longer sealed, I can get popped for an open container.
Well, I see.
Even
I
if it's
do
corked.
see what you're saying there, and I think what's going through their head is, yes, you're under the legal limit right now, but they're trying to make the case that you're going to actively continue, even if your plan was to take one sip or one glass while
I
you
don't
drive.
give a shit what they think my plan
That's a
is.
fair point, because at the end of the day, it's like, what can you prove? So I see what you're saying there, and they'll have to do a breathalyzer and figure out and go from there
So,
to get
to
them on a more
that,
serious charge.
jury nullification.
Jury nullification. You have it there from Zach. So I just wanted to point that out. We can, I mean, you can read the reports again in the show notes. It's about time in this country that we stop messing around with a plant. It's absurd. People's lives are ruined.
Ladies
over
and
nothing.
gentlemen, the drug war has not worked and has been an epic failure.
You want to talk
It
about an
is
epidemic?
time we reconsider all laws on drugs.
And look,
I
our-
literally mean all.
Our local police chiefs, our sheriff's departments have far better things to do.
Yeah.
Okay, now if you're observing some weird driving, I still agree. Like if
Call
they're
it.
going
Call it
to
in.
if they're going to legalize marijuana, the devil's lettuce, if they're going to legalize it,
Ganja.
then we need to kind of just do it like alcohol. Like yeah, don't drive. Don't
Don't
messed
drive
up.
when you're fucked up. Sorry.
Hey, like we always tell people, we don't have an FCC here. We let
Yeah,
people
you're
speak
right.
openly and honestly up here. This is an open and
Look.
honest discussion.
Look, it's as simple as that. Don't drive if you're drunk. Don't drive if you're high as hell.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
So if that's what they were, but like in the article, I mean, I don't know how far they're diving into the police reports at the Troy Daily News, but you know, it could be more than that. I'd have to really look into
Sure,
the
but then they would have
report.
charged. They would have arrested him for
exactly.
DUI.
There would have been something else to it. So I get it. I think I just wanted to point that out. I just can't believe that's still
Not weed.
going on. Oh, here's a good one. The commission cancels the Ohio State Fair. Just a friendly reminder: you have a higher chance of dying from the state fair than
Then
you do from
COVID.
dying of COVID-19.
Wow.
Can I get ironic for 500, Alex?
I think we've got that somewhere down here for a Daily Double.
Daily Double.
Is
No.
that copyrighted?
Probably.
Yeah, actually, come to think about it. Well, whatever.
Well, here's the thing. It's very sad what happened at the state fair, but like that is life. You know, if you're going to live like that, it's your choice to. I don't blame you. But they're shutting the fair down this year, and it's probably because a lot of people are canceling and nonprofits and whatnot, and everyone trying to come together for this thing. It's kind of like the same deal. It's hard to have a big events like this afterwards. But the Ohio State Fair has been canceled.
It's a damn shame they won't be wasting 2,200 pounds of butter
Oh,
Wait,
on
what?
on some sculptures.
Seriously?
butter sculptures?
Oh, you see that there on the left?
What?
Oh.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
a thing?
Uh-huh.
The 2019 Ohio State Fair's butter sculpture honored the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 11 moon landing. The
That was
display
fake.
was sculpted. The display was sculpted from the 2,200 pounds of butter in a span of 500 hours. Officials announced the 2020 Ohio State Fair has been. Well, that's just a downer.
Yeah.
Tell me all about the butter statues. Like, yeah, I want to go see these, and it's canceled, and it's gone.
I was kidding about that. Don't crucify me,
Take that out of
please.
context.
Well, no, the moon landing. I mean, that's just like a whole topic. I don't. But that's fair to question that.
It's also a fairly local issue with
Yeah,
The moon
you're
landing?
not wrong.
Wapakoneta.
Yeah,
Speaking of
yeah,
which,
you're right.
I mean, technically this doesn't really directly affect us per se, but the 27th, I believe it is, we're launching humans into space for the first time in like 20 something years
Like a
from U.S. soil, powered by SpaceX, of course, because
Yep.
Elon Musk is, well, God,
At this point,
and Elon renamed his son as well.
Oh, really?
It's weird.
He's not using that weird one.
He is.
Okay.
California law dictates it has to be letters, so instead he just spelled it out.
just made it all letters. Good for him.
I see. Wow.
Loophole.
Loophole.
And he can write it however he wants after that.
Yep. Exactly.
Well, hey, the J.R. Clark Public Library has announced a next phase of opening out of Covington. J.R. Clark Public Library is beginning phase 2 of its process of reopening on Monday, June 1st, with regular hours. This progression will be completed in several phases based on the recommendations from the Governor of Ohio. The Ohio Library Council, our J.R. Clark Trustee
Was it
Board.
by the governor or was it by Acton?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, no one really knows if it's DeWine or Acton making the call anymore, or who's in whose ear at this point. The limited phase 2 will begin on Monday, June 1st, with recommendations for patrons. Our library staff has their temperatures taken daily and will be wearing a mask in the library. All patrons will enter and leave from the north doors. The large toter will remain in the north foyer for the return books. Please do not take these return items to the circulation desk. So if you want to read about more going on at the J.R. Clark Public Library, we encourage you to go over to Troy Daily News and go check out everything that's going on that affects the Covington Library. We got to get you a cough button over there. I
Yeah,
have one
sorry
right
about
here.
that.
It's
Cough
the
button.
I call it the $50 button. This is all it is. Mutes it. Kind of a sad story, but also a legend at the same time, coming out of Goose Creek, South Carolina. Why did I throw this in here?
Not sure.
I don't even know who that is.
Goose Creek, born in Middletown, so maybe that's why. Okay, I got it now. This is from Troy Daily News. It's kind of like what WHI does. Like, they'll just report on something states away that makes no sense to anything local.
So now we're becoming like WHIO?
If I went through with this, I will honor this man because he was from Middletown. You know, that has to do with Ohio and the area. Like, I'm talking like they'll just go off about something randomly,
Right.
and I'm like, what?
I'm just trying to figure out
They called North Canton in one of their articles the other day North Carton.
North Carton.
And I Googled it. I was like, oh, maybe there's some kind of. No, it's just they misspelled Canton. I'm like, who is
How
proofreading these
embarrassed.
articles?
How embarrassing.
That's WHIO. That's not even at a local.
WHIO, get your shit together.
I try to give like
There, I
the
can
local
say it.
level. I try to give the local level a little bit more of a pass because they're dealing with more of a limited budget, less news, whatever the case is. But they're actually way more local news than you'd think. So I try to give them a pass. But
Oh, sorry.
unfortunately, Ray Noble, one of the few remaining World War II veterans, passed away at the age of 94 on May 17th, 2020, at his home in Goose Creek, South Carolina. Now, Ray was born on June 16th, 1925, in Middletown, Ohio, to the late Ira Noble and Emma Elam Noble. So that's kind of just a sad story there, but a day to remember, especially here on Memorial Day, the life of Ray Noble.
Here.
Well, what else do we have in the news here? We can come out of this story and into the next one. Amended services to save county money. I mean, we still got a couple pages left to go here. We're only at an hour 47. Usually I try and keep it between an hour and a half to 2 hours and 30 minutes or so. If you have any thoughts tonight, the number's always open, 937-696-7572. Let's scroll down. Let's find something interesting here. Well, let's go ahead to the country concert. Barhorst family, no 2020 country concert, coming from the Sydney Daily News. And I can say SydneyDailyNews.com. It makes me so happy to be able to say that. I think it's AIM Media that owns them up there, and then Miami Valley Today owns a couple of the other ones. I don't know if even at the same time those are both owned by the same people. I'm not sure, but out of Fort Laramie, the 40th annual country concert at Hickory Hill Lakes in Fort Laramie has been rescheduled to 2021. The Barhorst family posted this notice to the country concert's website and Facebook page Friday morning. Thank you, fans, for your continued support of the country concert. We are incredibly disappointed to have to reschedule our 40th anniversary event until July 8th, 9th, 10th of 2021. We explored every possible option to have the 2020 event safely for our fans, charitable organizations, vendors, sponsors, employees, and local businesses. They just couldn't do it. And here's the thing. Even if they said, screw it, no safety regulations, no guidelines or anything like that, no social distancing, even if they just said, screw it, the problem is most of the bands that are doing these events are canceling themselves. So then they're just left with no music at country concert. So that's kind of their dilemma that they're in. There's not much that these event people can do about it if the people who are supposed to come to the events are all canceling. So we just kind of have to live with the side effect of that. So no country concert. I know it's a big bummer to you country fans, Bud Light enthusiasts, etc., Walmart goers, shorts and boots wearers. And I really am. I do feel bad for the local economy. And people enjoy what they enjoy at the end of the day. So, I dog on them a little bit. People dog on me for a lot of stuff too. And is what it is. So, sad news coming out from country concert there. You ever gone to a country concert, Zach?
I have a few times.
How was it?
I guess if you're into drinking,
Are you? You're not a country guy though, are you? You're not like a
I
country
don't
music.
mind. I prefer more like outlaw country, old country.
Okay, you're on par with what I
I'm not a big drinker, and in my opinion, it's basically just drinking
Oh, yeah.
from start to finish.
you drink enough. Any country music sounds good.
Right. A lot of mud crickets there.
What is that? Was it a Skyrim reference? Saw a mud crab the other day.
No, mud cricket. No, someone who only plays that there's some country bumpkin.
Oh, okay, I got
It's
you.
about the one time a year that they go to Walmart, they buy like a $20 pair of cowboy boots and throw them on.
That fine. Well, what's that off-brand leather? Pleather.
Pleather, yeah, shit.
Pleather, yeah. But anyway, UVMC, this is some good news for you, has no COVID-19 patients right now. One visitor allowed with some hospital services in county. What does that mean? One visitor allowed with some hospital services in county.
I believe that they're going to you can now have one visitor at a time.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah, that way to go, Troy. Is that Troy Daily News?
Yeah, maybe they just
Yeah.
didn't elaborate on that point.
You
or
probably
they
should
worded it
elaborate on
wrong,
that. But
it
hey,
could be
whatever.
it
Fortunately,
happens.
one of us figured it out.
I mean, these people are doing their best. They're taking time out of their day to write these articles about our local area. It's just, constructive
I
criticism.
hope so. It's their job.
Yeah, that's true. They aren't getting paid to do this.
We're not getting paid to cover it.
No, we're just doing this because we like to cover this and just talk about things openly and honestly. We're not
If you
for
would like
everyone,
to,
and I know that
if
much.
you would like to support us, just hit us up.
Slip a little. Make sure you sanitize the envelope first.
Yeah, please.
Slip it under the door.
Please.
Socially distance yourself.
Located in beautiful downtown
beautiful
Troy.
If you could just leave them by the fountain, we'll come collect them.
They can't get to the fountain. It's still behind a gate.
The fountain?
Yeah, the one down here.
No, the one in the middle of the,
the one
downtown.
in the middle.
The giant
Well,
fountain. In the,
I keep forgetting there's two. My eye gets trained to the
are
construction.
you talking about the
zone.
one at 75?
the one they're not dyeing red this year.
Yeah. Oof. Well, hey, I was wondering with no one being in school, I haven't seen any giant foam bubbles from the fountain. They do it once a year. The school kids go out and they pour a ton of soap. into the
that's gotta
fountain.
be
And now
healthy.
they get pissed every year. Although we try to take maintenance down here and we got to clean out the fountain and it just so with tax dollars. I'm like, it's a tradition at this point. Just set a little extra funds
Look.
aside from that rainy day fund that you guys always seem to have a ton of money to pull out of.
Look, here's the way I look at it. It's no different than the damn rock by the A&W root beer stand in Sydney. Have you ever seen that?
I've not.
You know where the root beer stand is.
Okay.
So if you're sitting in their parking lot, there's a giant rock. It's not
Yeah.
even a rock. I believe it maybe was once part of a bridge or something.
I'm thinking of the wall with all that paint on it.
That's what I'm talking
That's
about.
what you're talking about?
Yes,
Okay.
it's not a rock. It's concrete,
Yeah.
which is technically kind of like a rock. But anyway, I look at it like that. I mean, yeah, we're gonna go out there and put some coats of paint on it. By now, it's probably like 400 coats thick, but it's just tradition.
Right.
It's the same way with how Houston goes. There's that bridge somewhere in Houston that they spray paint every
Sure.
year.
I get
Every
it.
place has a
And look,
tradition of some sort.
I'm one of the biggest people that's like slash when it comes to taxes and whatnot. Okay, but there are things in the local community.
How much money does it really cost to?
I don't know.
run
They
some
get.
bubbles
They
out
get
of it?
peeved every year over it.
Well,
So maybe this year they won't have to deal with it.
no.
But
Hopefully,
it's
they
just
have to
soap
deal
and
with it.
bubbles. I mean, in time now. The only problem is when that does overflow, they do a lot of great work on the landscaping in our circle, and people do put a lot of time and effort, a lot of donations for flowers and things like that for the circle. And so soap is a big killer for that.
Yeah.
So I do get that. I understand. It takes a
Okay.
lot of people's flowers and stuff.
All
I can
right,
see that
fine.
argument.
I'll give it that.
I
if
can
that's
see
your
it.
argument.
But just as far as tax dollars go, I mean, it's like the same as scrubbing the abortion drawings people put on the sidewalk. Not pleasant by any means. No one really wants to be greeted.
People do.
Yeah, over here by the
What?
bakehouse, they used to a while back. There was a little house around the corner that like abortion people ran out of. The anti-abortion. I'm sorry,
What?
anti-abortion people. So they would go do drawings and whatnot
I've never known
in front of
this.
the bakehouse, and then the mayor would get up back when this was Beamish, he'd get out to go get his morning food from the bakehouse or whatever, and you're trying to get your breakfast in the morning, and that's on the sidewalk. So he'd have the crew come out and power spray it off, and by 12 o'clock it'd be there again. They used to do it over on the levee too. It's just one of those things. It's like,
What
just
the hell do you draw?
you know what they draw, yeah,
You just detail?
detail, yeah,
Really?
yeah. And
Interesting.
it's not something I want to see, and I get it. Like you're the bakehouse, and that's planted on the sidewalk out
All right,
front.
people, like, look, I get it. It's not your thing, whatever. But come on, children. Like,
Right.
We don't need to explain to a child.
That's too far.
Yeah, we don't need to explain to a child about abortion.
And I know it's chalk, but technically it is defacing public property, and it's unfortunate for the businesses. People just trying to get some food, and I think that's why they do it, because they want to make them stop
Oh,
and
it
think.
is.
But
It is. That's exactly
so
what
I
it is.
guess
It's
the
shock
bubbles,
value.
the bubbles are kind of like that, but nowhere near as detrimental. I don't think, other than having to replant people's hard work and the grass dying. That is kind of a bummer there. But hey, here's something I did want to do a shout out to. This is coming from the Troy Daily News. The title is "Send Knife a 90th Birthday Card." Out of Tip City, Janet Knife of Tip City will turn 90 on June 2nd. She has 5 children, 9 grandchildren, and 17 great-grandchildren. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, family are unable to have a birthday celebration at this time. Therefore, they are doing the next best thing and having a card shower for her. Take a walk down memory lane and include a story or memory with your card. Cards can be sent to Janet Knife, and the address is over at the Troy Daily News for this article. We'll have the article in the show notes for you as well. You can go click there, hopefully by tomorrow or the day after. And we'll have that. I was going to read it, but I mean, I'd rather people get the address right and not have to, write it down or scribbling while they're listening. It's like an old radio thing that like people can absorb that information, like when they're driving along.
It is.
Like, what do I have to pull out a pen and write while I'm going down the road? Get on my phone? And
For
be
some
distracted?
reason, most people remember it.
It's weird because especially radio, like on a terrestrial platform, some people have good memories, but for those who don't, it's kind of odd to me that you would be. Your main listenership would be a car
Yeah.
or someone at work not able to write it down, listening in the background. So check it out over at Troy Daily News. It's a good cause. Send her a birthday card for a 90th birthday card. Maybe we'll send one over from the Troy Show as well. Let them know that we're thinking about her on her birthday. What else we got here to do? Scrolling through. Oh, the great smallmouth bass fishing challenge coming in June. According to the Troy Daily News, the Great Miami Riverway and the National Association of Professional River Anglers, the NAPRA, as it's called in the biz, have announced the first great smallmouth bass fishing challenge to be held on the Great Miami River from June 1st to the 30th. This fishing event is a family-friendly catch-and-release virtual tournament where anglers will utilize the iAngler app to register and, whoa, this is taking a turn, send in their catches. Oh, okay. So they catch the fish and then they get on the app. I thought they were trying to do like go down there with a VR headset and virtually fish on the river. It's like they're right there. Just throw a pole in. You don't have to virtually fish. Maybe socially distance fish or whatever. Fishing is a great social distance. Of course they led with that. Social distancing activity. That's now a selling point for stuff during this time of coronavirus. NAPRA's president said, "We hope people take advantage of this family-friendly activity to get out in the Great Miami River, whether they're fishing from a bank, wading, or on a watercraft. The tournament is open to all ages. Registration is $25, but only $15 if you enter on or before May 31st. Prizes will be awarded in 3 categories. The top slam, the total length of your 5 largest smallmouth bass, the biggest smallmouth bass in length, and the biggest smallmouth bass in lengths for kids 12 and under, anglers age on or before June 30th. The top slam winner will receive a $100 gift card. Not bad for days of fishing, especially if you're throwing it back. Ain't bad, $100 gift card, while the other 2 winners will receive 50 gift cards. Well, you can go fishing outside of the event. Go fishing there, throw it back, get $100. Then go
Great idea.
catch a fish somewhere where it's legal to do so.
Bingo. I could spend that $100 on
Oh.
more fishing equipment.
Yeah, or on a nice grill for it, smoker. Put it
Ooh.
towards that.
There we
Good
go.
idea.
See, we're getting some good ideas here.
Says right here, the Great Miami River is Ohio's best river for catching smallmouth bass, according to the number of smallmouth trophy fish registered on Ohio's Fish Ohio database.
I actually agree with that.
You do?
I do.
You do a lot of fishing? I remember
I
you and I
do.
went fishing, I think it was Copeland,
Probably.
years ago, and then Luke was there.
Yeah.
And we went up to
Indian Lake.
Indian Lake. We started there, but like where that all that water pours in, that watershed or water runoff.
Yeah.
And we started there. Creepy experience at night. Cool time. And then we
Yes.
transitioned. We found a spot. I don't know where it was. It's probably best that we don't know where it was. 'Cause I don't know if we were supposed to be there, but man, we got some good fishing.
We did.
It's kind of the thrill of fishing.
That is the thrill fishing.
Yeah.
The thrill fishing sometimes is being where you're not supposed
Now, we had
to
a
be.
fun night. I remember Copeland caught a giant stick.
Yeah.
And I took it. I've got it on video somewhere. I said, like a news reporter, what are you thinking of the catches out here tonight? And he was just like, well, we started tough tonight, but, as you can see here, he holds up this giant stick on his fishing line that he had got tangled up. And he said, I caught a big one here. It's probably at least 4 foot long. We just had a fun time with it. Fishing's a good time, whether you're into it or not. I mean, it's just a good time.
It's good relaxing time.
Yeah, it is. And I always try and bring someone who will take the fish off the hook for me.
Of course you do.
I can do it, but I don't like doing it. Mm-mm. No, thanks. Oh, I need to correct a typo on my end here. See, look wow. I read it correct. Boom. That'll be ready to publish tomorrow in the show notes. Here, speaking of the Great Miami River. So the Great Miami River has risen several feet in 2 days.
Yes.
And we do this every year. And then they report on it every year. And I couldn't do the weather. Okay.
I just
couldn't
need
do
to
it.
ask a legitimate question.
Sure.
Are people actually are they surprised all of a sudden when, I don't know, the river floods?
It rains a lot and then the river gets
Or
high.
they, like,
I mean, it's not that hard to look out your window and realize, whoa, for the last 3 days it's been raining. I bet it's going to be high.
right.
Yeah, I mean, it's always kind of cool to see it. I see why they print articles and whatnot and stuff and take pictures of it. I think I would probably grab a microphone and do a couple shots for the page, but there are some weather nerds out there. They like tracking these numbers. It's kind of like fantasy
Are
football
you
for
allowed to
them.
call them weather nerds?
Hell yeah, I'm allowed to call them weather nerds. It's no dig at them. They're nerds.
Is he our switcher nerd?
Yeah, he's our switcher nerd.
Sure.
All
We got our
right.
call screener nerd back there. You got the radio nerd sitting here in the, equipment nerd here. It's people take stuff as a dig anymore, and it's just not. It's not offensive. It's a weather nerd. You're into the weather. It's a funny thing. People, and I know I can see where some people, well, I'm not a nerd. But there are people who do really, their passion is these statistics. It's like tracking sports statistics for them. But I do love when people are, oh my God, it's up. It's is your home flooded? If it is, then maybe that's big news for you.
And
But
we have a problem.
it's like that 25A riverfront living space there between Piqua and Troy. That's not a bad spot. I'm sure they don't pay much for those houses out there. And when a tragedy does strike, like flooding, man, they eat for days. They just fish right off their back porch. They just throw it out there. It goes right up to their back porch, and people will be fishing from their back porch.
Seriously?
Yeah, when the
I've
river
never
goes
seen
up
that.
off 25A out there,
That's amazing.
it's hilarious. So people are freaking out. Oh, did we lose camera 2?
I think camera 2 took a
Uh-oh.
poopy.
Maybe the HDMI port.
No, it's that cable.
Well, try pressing the screen on that.
Maybe.
Just do the touch screen. Maybe it just fell asleep or something. Well, oh well.
Well,
It's karma.
It's
We're
okay.
calling them weather nerds. Our camera's cut off.
all we care is camera 1 is fixed.
Camera 1's good.
Camera 1's good. It's all
We'll
that
figure
matters.
out what's wrong with it later. I bet. Yeah, that cable. Go ahead and unplug that cable so the HDMI port
All
on
right.
it's not messed up. Oh, the joys. Oh, okay. We'll take this time, probably not the best time to tell this out. Shout out to our friend Tom Pappert from National File. He was asking me before we started the show tonight. He does a lot of major news. He's a major news network guy, and he covers national news, hence the name National File. And he had asked me, and I told him I would get with him on this, how our 15, technically I found out 16.5 HDMI cables are. These are, I got a box. I thought I had a box. Here it is. So these are our cables that we run to use our cameras here. I ordered these off of Amazon. They are 8K. We are future-proofing here. We're only at 1080p, 1920. Facebook gets us down to 780, 1280 by 720 or something like that. But these are what we bought. They're 16.5 feet, 5 meters. They're the ultra high speed HDMI cables, 48 gigabytes per second, dynamic HDR. But these are what we're using, plus the adapters we got on Amazon. So if you're wondering, Tom, they're working great until now, apparently. But we are having no problems with our signal or loss of any kind plugged into our cameras
Just our
here.
adapters.
Just apparently something shut off on us. But that reminded me. I'll timestamp him to the video so he can get to it. Busy man, he's covering national news, so I'll timestamp it for him. That way he can get to it. Let's see here. Occupant burns hands, keeping fire from spreading. I believe this is the same fire. A Troy man suffered. No, I think the other one was out of Bradford. This was a Troy man suffered burns to his hands when a mattress was found to be on fire inside his residence on Friday, but his actions may have prevented the fire from spreading. Kind of like that story about the kid with the dam. Burns his hands, but he keeps the fire from spreading. When we got here, he said, one of the residents of the home had already dragged the mattress onto the front porch. That was it for the majority of the fire. The house suffered some minor smoke damage, but that was about it. So he got the mattress out. He didn't run out. He just dragged the mattress out. Risky move, but he saved the house, other than some minor fire damage. Hope everything's well. Hopefully they recover just fine. Yeah, I'm not going to go to that article. Basically, it's just Tip City Aquatic Center closes for the 2020 season, of course. This is something that's coming up from BravoTroyOhio.com, Troy, Ohio's positive news source. So if we're just not your cup of tea, go give our friends over at BravoTroyOhio.com a check out as well. Kroger Health will offer drive-through COVID-19 testing at Troy Hospital next week. The site will be open from 8:30 a.m. until 5:30 p.m. from May 26th through May 28th. We're going to get out there. We're going to get some video footage for you so you can see what's going on. Again, when we go out on location, which we got a clip we're going to play here in a second. When we go out on location, we try to be as unbiased as possible and just bring you and just ask questions. We're not there to interfere with anyone's day. We try and stay on public property best we can, and so forth, so on. So that's going to be happening. We'll have some more information on that May 26th and May 28th. We're going to go out there, get some shots of what's going on. So if you're interested in going and getting the test for this, my personal opinions aside, we'll have that information for you. Now go ahead and go over to the videos tab here, Nathan, and pull up Troy Park. Yeah, it should be good to go. And this was me at the Troy Park. So here's the deal, and we'll explain.
On this day, as we're memorializing those who died for our freedoms here in the country, we wanted to come out to the Troy Park, a very nice facility. They've done a lot with it over the years. There's plenty of people out here playing disc golf today. And the city government had announced earlier on in the week that for the Memorial Day weekend, they were going to be reopening elements of the city parks. For instance, the tennis courts and the pickleball courts, along with the playgrounds now, are finally reopened. However, behind me, to which I'm not standing on as to not cause any issues, the basketball court is still closed. The nets are still up, along with the park's restrooms. Because as we all know, that the virus does not spread on tennis courts, pickleball courts. They're combined in that sense. There's just different markings on them. And playgrounds. It doesn't spread on those. And bathrooms have always been clean until COVID-19. And they also spreads very rapidly on basketball courts. So as we are out here today, memorializing those who died for our freedoms, it's just something to think about. Why are those open, but the basketball court and the restrooms are still closed?
Man, 90-degree days. Murder on the hair. Murder on the hair. But I went out there. I thought it was the weirdest thing, okay? And I'm posing the question to everyone. Why? Why are the pickleball courts open and the tennis courts are open and the playgrounds are open and the restrooms and the basketball courts are not?
The only explanation I could think of is that basketball is a contact sport and tennis and pickleball are not.
But it is a contact sport.
What?
You got to touch the ball.
Well, I suppose, yeah.
You got to throw it back to the other person. The other person's got to serve, etc. It doesn't make any sense. And then the playground on top of that. And it says,
yeah, but
when
if you hit the ball hard enough, the virus just kind of peels off with the wind pressure.
That's
how that works,
is,
right?
Yeah, and I knew the bathrooms have been sanitary forever until the virus, and now bathrooms are the most unclean place.
Well, that's just going to cause people to use the river.
Defecate. Yeah, no, I see what you're saying.
Maybe not the
in
river,
today's
but,
world,
whatever
that's a valid concern, honestly.
Whatever bushes or whatever's around,
Well, so the deal with that is, and I find it frustrating, is just because they came out and announced that, and I'm thinking, okay, and they even said, you're encouraged to bring your own sanitizer and Clorox wipes. Like, well, that's what every parent should be doing. Every parent should be doing that. They should be protecting their kids while they're on the playground from germs and stuff.
Yeah, and
When you're done playing basketball, wash your hands.
did you hear about some of the playground guidelines they were talking about?
Oh, I don't even know if I want to hear them.
I don't have a source for this. I heard it. However, they were talking about. I don't know if this is on a state level or on a city level or whatever's going on, but I heard that they were attempting to. Basically, they're going to put 6-foot grids on playgrounds to keep kids from getting too close to each other. Kids aren't going to pay any attention to that grid. I don't know.
Dude.
That might not be from a reliable source, but
Was that from the Bugle Caller?
that was from someone I was talking to today, but I didn't get any source from that. So
There's a satire site. It's not the Bugle Caller, but there's one that says satire today, news tomorrow. Yeah, that's where we're headed. Well, hey, hope exists for the fall sports at least. OHSAA's Snodgrass optimistic about prospects for the fall season, according to the Troy Daily News. After the unprecedented cancellation of spring sports, a fall sports season is looking more and more likely. After last week's announcement during Ohio Governor Mike DeWine's press briefing that practices could resume on May 26 for a handful of low and non-contact Ohio High School Athletic Association sports, Lieutenant Governor John Husted said on Thursday that skill training for all sports, including contact sports, would be permitted to resume the same day. Skills training for all sports may resume on May 26th. Good hope for us. Of course, there's going to be stipulations. So Eddie and I don't know if you saw this. I took a video of it.
Mhm.
Oh, and for anyone who's wondering, Zach had to dip out for the night, unfortunately. Good timing. Camera died. But Zach had to dip out for the night. We do appreciate him swinging by. I was at Dunaway's, and they got a bunch of TVs around there to watch some sports or whatnot.
Yep.
And I sent you, I think I sent you this video.
Sure did.
I never thought I would see the day where I'm at a Midwest small town bar watching esports, basketball esports, streamer esports. And I'm not opposed to it. Like, esports is a valid sport. There's plenty of numbers, millions and millions of dollars for prizes now of dedicated, very serious sportsmanship going on in the video game world.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no sports to air, and it's not like ESPN can just shut down for a day, cave an entire media operation, then reopen it later. The airwaves must continue. The show must go on. One of Freddie Mercury's best songs must go on. And so here we are at a small-town Midwest bar watching esports. It's quite interesting.
Very strange.
I
but,
wonder
you
when
know,
I'd see that day when we transition.
They got to put something on those TVs.
Got to put something up there. Well, the Troy Noon Optimist Club volunteers. They're getting some flags placed around the city. I think there's also another one, a volunteer here. I don't think he's part of the Troy Noon Optimist Club. He's out of the Tip City area. He was going around. Name's Todd, placing flags, it looks like, at the cemetery in Tip City. It's a nice gesture. It's always nice when people get out and just kind of get preemptive, man. I like it when our local governments do something nice, or our chambers or our nonprofits do something nice. It's great. But when people just take things into their own hands as well, and citizens step up in their individual role and civic duties, always a good thing to see. Well, I think we got about just 2 more left here, and then we're out. Keeping it just around the almost 2.5 hour mark tonight. That'll be cool. The Piqua Daily Call, putting this one out, a foul-smelling spill closes Covington Avenue. This kind of caused a stir. Covington Avenue was closed for a majority of the day on Sunday after a commercial semi lost part of its load, covering the street with what both police and fire departments described as a foul-smelling substance. They said that the spill was reported at 9:36 a.m. by residents in the area. The substance has not been identified, but was thick pink substance. Spilled. Wow, what was that?
Is that like the thing from Ghostbusters 2? You know when the pink stuff is like coming up from the sewer since like Ghost Goop or something?
I was thinking it was more like Pepto-Bismol.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I don't know if they ship Pepto-Bismol in tankers unless they had it boxed up and then all of it spilled, but It was foul. It was not of the bubblegum variety. The driver of the semi continued on without stopping, according to police. They said that several residents along the street have surveillance footage of the truck, and officers will be checking the footage to identify the vehicle. Oh, so he just... Look, even I get bored sometimes. You think I have a choice? It's a Star Wars reference.
Mm.
When he had to drop his load to get
Yeah,
away as
yeah, I gotcha.
the
Uh-huh.
smuggler. So he just dumped it out there on 36. Maybe he was afraid of a scale or something, had to lose a little bit of weight. Or could be an honest mistake. Did you see that video that truck, box truck, semi-truck, went through an intersection? Whole forklift came out the back of the thing.
Whoa! I
Yeah,
did
right
not
in the middle of the
see that. That's
intersection.
crazy.
Dropped the forklift, kept on going. It was wild. All right, last one here tonight. Another satire. Bugle Caller. We won't go through the whole thing on this one. I do encourage you to go over to the Bugle Caller and read these for yourself. They're a good laugh. But the title of the headline here is Leaked. All Troy intersections to be roundabouts by 2025.
There we go.
Blueprints leaked to the Miami County Bugle Caller reveal a shocking citywide plan to convert all intersections to roundabouts by the 2025. The project is expected to be far more invasive and 800 times more expensive than the McCaig-Dorset roundabout project. The leaked blueprints were sent to MCBC via email from an anonymous Troy City Council member. Following the completion of the McCaig-Dorset roundabout in late July, concerns were raised after 24 separate car accidents occurred in the first week of its opening of August 1st. Wouldn't that be something?
Wow.
Every intersection, a
Hey,
roundabout.
Roundabouts are safer.
They are technically safer. They are statistically safer. They put that one out at 41. You go out far enough on 41. 41, and I used to know the road name, 2-something, I think. And it used to be a hot spot for accidents, man. Corn grows up there, intersection, people can't see.
Yep.
They tried putting a traffic light, that didn't work. I think they went from a ridiculous amount of number of accidents to like 4 or 5 low-speed accidents
Mhm.
just because of the roundabout. Oh, that'd be a nightmare, though, for people to relearn that. That's the biggest problem is they don't just set down on one thing. Like, they got to constantly change traffic patterns, and people got to constantly relearn them. Obviously, traffic expands, so you do have to change stuff from time to time. They're doing their best down here, but these historic cities aren't necessarily cut out for this. It is what it is. Well, I'd say that was a pretty successful, relaxed Memorial Day show. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in with us, spending a little bit of your Memorial Day with us as we remember those who have made the ultimate sacrifice, so you and I can even sit here and have a little bit of fun and talk about the community. Thanks for Zach for coming out tonight. As always, big props to our video switcher, Nathan, for handling the show tonight. Our call screener in training in the back, taking and fielding calls tonight. We might just be printing off that graduation certificate next week. I think she has proven her worth. No, but she helps around here at the show so much, making sure everything's taken care of on the behind the scenes, when guests are up here, etc. We do appreciate the work of everyone here. And like we said, we're just out here to do a fun show, have some fun time, take the news, take some serious moments out of it, discuss some hot button topics in the area, do it the best that we can. If you want to get in touch with us, beautifultroyshow@gmail.com. As always, the call-in line is going to be deactivated here in a little bit. But next week, if you want to ring in with something, 937-699-675-72. Our website, thetroyshow.net, that is the hub of where you can find all the information related to The Troy Show. And Facebook.com/BeautifulTroyShow is the official page of The Troy Show. You can go check us out over there. It's where all of our content is at. We also have a YouTube channel. If you have YouTube Red and want to listen to the audio version of this only, we're not sponsored by YouTube Red. It's just kind of how I do things. We're working on getting an audio-only platform for those on the go who can't watch along with us, who don't want to stare at this face. I get it. I understand. We've got a YouTube channel for that. Just look up The Troy Show. You'll find us there. And finally, I got to discuss this before we go. It's just, there is some drama. You know, maybe, I don't know. I'll just say this. I wanted to get a little bit further into it, but I'll just say this because we got to go. Don't start a group that says uncensored. If you want to start a group for so-and-so's version of Troy, Ohio, you're more than welcome to. When things go a little bit south, it's really disappointing to see that this week. If you're in the group drama, that's why we try to make ours as drama-free as possible. Facebook.com/groups/Troy Ohio Citizens, the official group of the citizens, the unofficial group of the city. That's where you can find us, Troy Ohio Citizens 2.0. And then they changed the name to Troy Ohio Citizens, but it's all in caps, so it's totally different.
And
it
there's
has
a comma.
It has a comma, so it's totally different than the other Troy Ohio Citizens. That is almost as bad as JT's move. Almost. But hey, I mean, if you want to start a group, it's like the beautification of Troy. There's plenty of groups out there like, hey, this is what we're about. We post old photos of Troy, etc. We don't want drama in politics here. But if you're going to post a group and lure people in with the uncensored title only to change it later, but still kind of do the same thing. I mean, that's odd. Oh, goofy. Don't do that. Anyway, if you want a truly uncensored group, we only go by Facebook terms of service as far as content that we might have to remove, scams, things like that. Head on over to Troy Ohio Citizens 2.0, facebook.com/groups/Troy Ohio Citizens. It's not my personal soapbox. I have plenty of time to get my word out here on the show. It's for the citizens, truly is. Take the conversation further. Maybe you couldn't get it out in the phone call or whatever the case is. Take it directly to them. We're almost 500 citizens strong over there, and we have no plans of changing who we are at Troy Ohio Citizens 2.0. We might get into that topic a little bit further. I'm going to let it unfold. I knew it would go the way I knew it. I knew that would happen to that group. Shameful. Sad, really. Started with good intentions. But hey, we'll end on a positive note here. At least I tried to. We'll catch you back here next week. And remember, this is Troy. Making you sweat over there. On air.